Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to episode 9 of Sri Īśopaniṣad. Today's topic is Mantra 8 of the Īśopaniṣad. Word to word. We'll just look at each and every word. So it's in this section here. Saha Pariyagat Shukram Akayam Avranam Asnaviram Shuddham Apapavidham Kavih Manishi Paribhuh Swayambhuh Yatha Tathyatah Arthan Vyadadhat Shashvatibhyah Samabhyah. Right, now the entire line by line. Here it looks like 5 lines, but actually the last line is divided into 2 lines. So because it's a very long line, it doesn't exactly follow the meter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but this is another meter where the first 3 lines are, I think, 11? Sapariyaga Chukram Akayam Avranam. So 12 syllables in the first line, and likewise I think the first 3 lines, and then the last line is I think 16 syllables if I am not wrong. Yatha Tathyatorthan Vyadadhat Chasvatibhya Samabhya 17. So the last one is 17, the first 3 are about 11 or 12 syllables. So we will just chant it as if it's like 11 or 12 syllables. Sapariyagat Chukram Akayam Avranam. So please repeat after me. Actually, this chanda is called Ushnik Chanda or something like this. Not Ushnik, I think that's 8, 8, 8, 12. But this is 12, 12, 12, 17. So I don't know what chanda is exactly this. But we will just chant we will try to fit it into the tune of 11. Sapariyagachukram akayam avranam asnaviram shuddham apapaviddham kavirmanishi paribhuh swayambhur yatha tathyatorthan vyadadat shasvatibhyah samabhyah. Sapariyagachukram akayam avranam asnaviram shuddham apapaviddham kavirmanishi paribhuh swayambhur yatha tathyatorthan vyadadha chasvatibhyah samabhyah. All right, so the word to word sah, that person. Again, when we talk about that person, means the Supreme Lord. Pariyagat, must know in fact. Shukram, the omnipotent. Akayam, unembodied. Kayam, kaya means body, and akaya means he does not have a body. So that does not mean he does not have a body at all, but he does not have a body like we know a body. Like we know a body to be like material, like flesh, veins. So that we will learn. You see, akaya means unembodied. Avranam, without reproach. Asnaviram, without veins. So he has a body, but he does not have veins and bones and like this. This is imitation. That's why in the Bible also it is said, man is made in the image of God. Just like we see, what is that? Mannequin. That means like a model of a woman or a man that is made of plastic. So if you go to a clothes shop, they will have these mannequins and they will be dressed in some way, so to exhibit the dress. So that shape of that mannequin is designed after a man or a woman. Usually it's woman because mostly they are clothes. So it is fashioned after a real human being. But a real human, so in that way you can say a mannequin is made after the image of a human being. Although it is an imitation of a human form, but it is made of plastic or whatever the material is. So similarly, although it is an imitation of a human form, it is not made of the ingredients of a human form. Ingredients of a human form are, like we know, skin, flesh, muscles, bones, veins, nerves, and all these things. So the mannequin is not made of these things, but it is made in the image of a human being. Similarly, man is made in the image of God. So our human body itself is like a mannequin of God. So it's like a model of God. So this is made of bones, flesh, and everything, veins and nerves and all the muscles and everything, and mucus, urine, stool, and whatever disgusting elements. But the Lord's body is not made of these things. So in this way we have to understand. Akayam means unembodied. Avranam, without reproach. Asnaviram, without veins. Shuddham, antiseptic, pure, antiseptic. Apapaviddham, prophylactic. Prophylactic, especially if you are in the medical field, you will understand. Prophylactic is a preventive, like a vaccine, prophylactic. So it will prevent any infection. So apapaviddham, kavi, omniscient. Kavi also means poet, but kavi also means omniscient. So one who knows, one who is expert in the knowledge. So he is expert in all knowledge. And knowledge means not just of the past and present, but also of the future. Vedaham samatitani, vartamanani charjuna, bhavishyani cha bhutani, mam tu vedana kaschana. Chapter 7, text 26. So he says that I am the knower of past, present and future. I'll just show the verse. So as O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. So this is the omniscience, Kavi, Manishi, philosopher, Paribhuhu, the greatest of all, Swayambhuhu, self-sufficient. Swayambhu also means self-born. Self-born means he is not born of a mother and father. And sometimes Brahma is also called Swayambhu because he was born from the lotus and he did not have a mother. So he was born from the lotus that grew out of the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and from that lotus he grew. He was born. So because he had no mother, so therefore he is also called Swayambhu. But the real Swayambhu is the Lord. Swayambhu who is in existence without any other cause, self-sufficient. We are dependent on the mother to come here into this world. So the Lord is not dependent. So that is Swayambhu, self-sufficient. Yatha tatyatah, just in pursuance of. Arthan, desirables. Vyadadhat, awards. Shashvatibhyah, immemorial. Samabhyah, time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied. Actually here, Sa means not the Supreme Personality. We are talking about, because the previous two verses were about the pure devotee who sees the Lord everywhere. So I got that wrong there. So Sa means it's he, the pure devotee who sees the Lord everywhere. So it's about him. Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. You see how, you just notice how the Upanishads, especially this Īśopaniṣad and even other Upanishads, the name Krishna is very less. It is there, it is very less. That's why the Mayavadis, they take advantage of these words, Saha or Isha. Isha means the Supreme Lord. So they take advantage of these words and try to manipulate. That's why we have to understand the Shruti through the Smriti. Then it is properly understood, and especially through the mouth of a pure devotee. If Prabhupada did not explain the Īśopaniṣad, we would not understand this. Even later on, the verses, it can be translated wrongly. The Mayavadis can easily manipulate the meaning using different meanings of the words. So in this way, Shankaracharya attempted, but then the Vaishnava Acharyas like Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya, they also have commentaries on these 10 Upanishads, the 10 important Upanishads. So, and also the Vedanta Sutra and Vedas. So in that way, the Vaishnava philosophy was re-established after Shankaracharya's manipulation. So now we will connect this English to the Sanskrit, the phrases, phrase by phrase. So such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead. So such a person, that means Saha, that person, you see, in the word to word, that person. Such a person must factually know. Paryagat means must know, in fact. So that is must factually know. The greatest of all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So of course here is the topic is about the Lord. So just like the previous verses, the pure devotee sees the Lord everywhere. So we are talking about that same Supreme Lord. So he should understand the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, akayam, avranam, beyond reproach, omniscient. Omniscient is Kavi. What is that? Yeah, Kavir. Akayam, then the Kavi translation is coming. He was unembodied, beyond reproach. Beyond reproach is apapavidham, is it? Beyond reproach. Avranam, yes. Avranam, beyond reproach. So, what is reproach? Let's look up. See that? Rebuke or beyond fault. Like you see here, the word meaning is express to someone one's disapproval of or disappointment in their actions. So he can never be blamed for anything in that way. So whatever he does is never wrong. So it's never subject to any laws of karma or any right or wrong. Everything that he does is always right. He is not a person to be judged by us. So he, just like Ras Leela, sometimes people think, how come he is more, how come he is lusty? How come God can be lusty? So that kind of understanding, to try to see some fault in God, that is actually offensive. Because the Lord, even though he may do anything, whether he gets angry or whether he dances with other people's wives, there is nothing wrong in that. Because everybody is actually to be enjoyed by him. So this wife or husband or whatever, this is all bodily relationships. So actually we all belong to Krishna. So there is nothing wrong when Krishna does it. But when we do it, then it becomes completely criminal. But when we cannot, so we are subject to reproach. So he is never subject to reproach. He is never subject to any judgment by any material law. He is above all Vedic rules and regulations. Beyond reproach. Without veins, pure. So he has a body like we need veins for the blood to flow and for the body to be maintained. But if he has no veins, that doesn't mean he has no body. Otherwise, if he has no body, if he's not a person, then it is useless referring to him as he like that. So an Isha, controller. How can you be a controller if you are not a person? So this idea of not being a person, impersonal idea of God, that is completely refuted. But he does not have wings. So his body is made not of our ingredients like this. Pure and uncontaminated. The self-sufficient philosopher who has been, so if you see the words, asnaviram, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, shuddham and apapavidham. So shuddham means he is pure and antiseptic. That means not only is he pure, but if we chant his name, we also become pure. Just like fire is pure, and when fire, we can sterilize things with fire. So when whatever touches fire, that also becomes pure. So in that way, so he is pure and uncontaminated, apapavidham, prophylactic. So he is, papa cannot touch him or sin cannot touch him. There is no such thing as he committing sin. Sometimes there are explanations where like in Mahabharata, for example, Gandhari cursed him. How can he come under the curse of Gandhari? So, and also because they say that because Lord Ram killed Vali, hiding and shooting him. So next life Vali came and is the hunter to shoot Krishna, and that's how Krishna was shot in the sole of his feet, and like that he was killed, so called. So in this way, these are bewildering pastimes of the Lord, where because the atheist wants to be convinced that there is no God, or God is just an ordinary person, and he is also subject to the laws of nature when he comes into this material world. This is the Mayavadi's philosophy, and he engages in activities which are so bewildering that they get convinced. So if somebody wants to take Krishna as an ordinary person, Krishna will give them the intelligence to think that he is an ordinary person. So, for example, he accepted Gandhari's curse. How? See, nobody can curse him or bless him. But when the devotees bless him or when the devotees curse him, he accepts it. He accepts it. Just like Tulsi Maharani. Tulsi also cursed Lord Vishnu to become a stone because he was so stone-hearted, I curse you to become stone. So he became a stone, Shalagram Shila. So, but because devotee cursed him, so he accepts the curses or blessings of his devotees. But you may think, how can a devotee curse Krishna? So this is very intimate relationship. Just like Yashoda Maya, she chastised him, she tied him up, she scolded him, but he likes these things also. This is something he enjoys as well. So these are all different types of relationships he enjoys. He enjoys not only just like when we eat. Sometimes we like to eat sweet things, but not that if you are fed only sweets and nothing else. Actually, there is a story that I read in when I was a small kid. So this king had it's like a fable stories, So this king had 9 daughters, and at one point when they were about in their teens, everybody was quite grown up, you can say, and they were ready for marriage at that time. The father asked them, "How much do you love me?" So the one daughter said, "I love you as much as like a gulab jamun. You're like gulab jamun." And somebody said, I love you like a jalebi. So that means in that way, what they're saying is, in a sweet way, I love you like this. And then like this, every daughter was saying like this. And 2 daughters, the youngest 2, one of them said, I love you like salt. And the other said, I love you like sour or something like that. Or like chili. Then the father got very angry with them and he banished them from his kingdom. And he thought, what is this, you have no good feelings for me, your affection is for me is like a salt, that means it is not sweet, and what chili, what is this, So in that way, then after some time, when they were banished, they were very sorry to know that their father banished them, and they wanted to win him back. So they told some of his spies that, okay, we have a plan. You let the king know that we will arrange a feast for him, but you don't tell him who arranged the feast. Say it was a very mysterious well-wisher, but he's the person is a real well-wisher. So after the feast, then they would reveal the whoever cooked the feast, they will reveal themselves. You tell that like that to the king. So the messenger went and told, and then the king said, all right, okay. He was a little bit skeptical, but all right, if he's a well-wisher, then he agreed. Then they cooked a feast full of so many sweets and nothing but sweets. Then he saw, wow, such a great feast. I mean, how many items are here? 100 over items. So he started tasting one by one, everything is sweet. And he got fed up with the whole thing. Oh, come on, what is this? I mean, where is sabjis, where is dal, where is some pickles, where is some, it's just sweet, how much can I eat, Then, the 2 daughters came forward and they said, we are the ones who arranged this feast. Because he scolded the people, where is any preparation with salt, or where is any preparation with chili? Then the daughters came. You see, this is why we said salt and chili, where you can eat anything without salt. So sweet is only one part of the whole feast. There is a salt, there is chili, so many different tastes are there. So, so that's how we love you. So then the king understood his mistake. So anyway, that was the story. So the point is, there are different tastes in relationships. So Krishna wants to taste everything. So some glorify him with prayers, some glorify So especially when it goes to Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras, there are so many varieties of relationships there. And sometimes the cowherd boys, they ask him to close his mouth, close his eyes, and then say, we're going to give you some sweetest fruit, and then they'll put a flower inside his mouth. Then, because his eyes are closed, you close your eyes, we'll give you the sweetest fruit that is available. You will be so stunned by its taste. Then they put the flower, and it's very bitter. So when he very bitter, and then he twists his face, then they like it. So they all laugh. So they make fun of him, and they climb on his shoulders, and then they play games with him. Sometimes they even challenge him to a fight. And all these things are going on, and the parents sometimes chastise him. The gopis, they have their loving relationships, and in their loving relationships there will be sometimes seeming envy, seeming, like sometimes Radharani is like displeased, and Krishna has to like go and fall at her feet, all these things. So these are all different tastes in a relationship. So he engages in all these relationships with his devotees, and even when he wants to exhibit his anger, he will send his devotee down, like Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. He sent Jay and Vijay, the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. So they were his devotees. So he sent them over to the material world so that they can fight with him. So he always engages with his devotees. So whenever somebody curses him, so whenever somebody does this, that, seemingly so-called reversals, he is never controlled by the words of a non-devotee, never. When Hiranyakashipu challenged Narasimhadev to appear before him, he did not appear because of the challenge of Hiranyakashipu, but because of the approval of Prahlad. Prahlad said, yes, there is the Lord in this pillar. So that's how he manifested himself from the pillar. So he answered Prahlad's words and not Hiranyakashipu's words. So in that way, he always engages in relationships with his devotees, but an impersonalist, an observer from far, they cannot know these things, the intricacies of the Lord and his devotees and their relationships. So that's why he is misunderstood by people in different ways. Self-sufficient philosopher. So he is, what is that? What is a self-sufficient? Swayambhu, yeah. A philosopher, Yathat, Manishi means philosopher, and Paribhu, the greatest of all, Paribhu. So this is referring to the Supreme Lord. So the greatest means there is always three levels: good, better, best. So the positive, the comparative, and the superlative. So superlative is where is the descriptions of the Lord. So good, better, best. So he's just not good, and he's just not better than others, but he's the best of all. So that means, again, he's a person. There's no comparison between a person and a not person, no. Best means best of all. So that's again person. Swayambhu. Yatha tathyato arthan. So just in the pursuance of the desirables. You see here, who has been fulfilling everyone's desire, just as they were desiring, in the pursuance of the desire, he fulfilled. Vyadadhat means awards. He fulfills, awards their desires since time immemorial. Shashvatibhyaha samabhyaha. Shashvatibhya samabhya means since time immemorial. That means since infinite past, he has been doing this all the way. So that's how you can map the Sanskrit to the English translation. Now, let's go to the purport. Here is a description of the transcendental and eternal form of the absolute personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is not formless. He has his own transcendental form, which is not at all similar to the forms of the mundane world. The forms of the living entities in this world are embodied in material nature, and they work like any material machine. So this is basically a mechanical construction that we have, this material body. So just like in a car, the machine, there is fluids going around, there is the fuel, there is the combustion, there is fire, there is water, there is fuel, there is metal parts, there are screws, and axles and steering and gearbox, so many things in a car. So it's all working to move it. So similarly, to move this car of the material body, there is so much system inside. you know, but the driver is required for the car to move. So similarly, the soul is required for this body to move. So when the soul leaves the body, then this, just like when you switch off, when the key you turn off, or nowadays it's just a button. So if you turn it off, then no more, the car doesn't move, although it may have all the mechanics of a machine that can move. It will not move unless there is a driver. So even the so-called self-driving cars or whatever, you still need somebody to push on the button. If everything just goes on automatically, you don't want to sit in that car, because you have absolutely no control, right? So these self-driving cars are basically still under the control of the driver, and of course the other engineering devices inside, like the GPS and everything. So it is dependent on all these things. So it is not exactly self-driving. There is a mechanics of driving, just that it is not the way we used to drive. It's just a different mechanics, but still there is control. So similarly, this body is like a machine. It works like any other machine. The anatomy of a material body must have a mechanical construction with veins and so forth. But the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord has nothing like veins. It is clearly stated here that He is unembodied, which means that there is no difference between His body and His soul. Okay, let me go to some description here. I'm looking for a verse. I actually do not know exactly where it is, but I think it's in this chapter. Let's see. Bhishma Dev is explaining something here. You see this? You see this description here, 1.9.34. So Bhishma Dev is meditating on the form of Krishna that he saw on the battlefield, and he is mentioning that form and what he saw and how he fixed in meditation on that form. But this was just before his passing away. He said these few words and then he passed away. So there he is mentioning Yudhituragarajo vidhumra vishvak kachalulitas shramavari alankritasye mama nishita sharair vibhidyamana tvachivilasat kavachestu Krishna Atma. On the battlefield where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go unto Sri Krishna. Now here he is saying, there were wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. I shot arrows at Krishna. So Bhishma Dev shot his arrows at Krishna, and there was blood coming out. So how did blood come out when there were no veins? See that? So, and then for the Lord himself, those bloody wounds actually appeared like flower offerings, just like when a devotee offers flowers. So for the Lord it was like flowers, and he enjoyed such chivalrous mood with the Lord. So you see here in the purport, the Lord is the absolute form of eternity, bliss and knowledge. As such, the transcendental loving service to the Lord in one of the 5 principal relations, namely Shanta, Dāsa, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, that is neutrality, servitorship, fraternity, filial affection and conjugal love, is graciously accepted by the Lord when offered to the Lord in genuine love and affection. Sri Bhishma Dev is a great devotee of the Lord in the relationship of servitorship. Thus, his throwing of sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. It appears that Bhishma Dev is repenting the actions he committed against the person of the Lord, but factually the Lord's body was not at all pained due to his transcendental existence. His body is not matter. Both he himself and his body are complete spiritual identity. Spirit is never pierced, burnt, dried, moistened, etc. This is vividly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So also it is stated in the Skanda Purana. It is said there that spirit is always uncontaminated and indestructible. It cannot be distressed, nor can it be dried up. When Lord Vishnu in his incarnation appears before us, he seems to be like one of the conditioned souls, materially engaged, just to bewilder the asuras or the non-believers who are always alert to kill the Lord even from the very beginning of his appearance. Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna and Ravana wanted to kill Ram because foolishly they were unaware of the fact that the Lord is never killed, for the spirit is never annihilated. In fact, there were many descriptions in the Ramayana where the arrow hit the Lord in his head and blood started, gushing out from his head. But still, he fought. He fought with valiantly and defeated them. So, how can blood come? So, he can make blood from spirit. He can do anything, right? And to bewilder the atheists, he can do anything again. So, he can make anything. So, we have to always remember but that doesn't stop him from enacting his leelas. If we get a arrow at our head, I think that'll be the end of us, So, forget about arrow, and just a knife also will be finished. So, but arrows that are coming at such huge speed, and he's taking them, and then there is blood on his body, and he's still fighting, So, even an ordinary Kshatriya would do that. What to speak of? Just like Karna, when the drilling spider pierced him, and then the blood, was like a fountain. It was spilling from his body, but then he just remained as still as clear, crystal clear water without a ripple. He did not even move little bit like that. Not even that. Just as if nothing happened, because he did not want to disturb Parshuram, his guru. So, like that, Kshatriya, then that's why actually Parshuram cursed him. Oh, you're not a Brahmana, you're a Kshatriya. Because he saw that only a Kshatriya can take that pain and not be, will not flinch even a little bit. A Brahmana or a Vaishya or a Shudra cannot take that pain. So he knew he was a Kshatriya and he cursed him that you will not remember this mantra for throwing the Shakti weapon when you absolutely most need it. That time you will forget. And eventually, well enough, he forgot the mantra when he wanted to use it against Arjuna. So this is the explanation, you see. So Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna and Ravana wanted to kill Ram, because foolishly they were unaware of the fact that the Lord is never killed, for the spirit is never annihilated. Therefore, Bhishma Dev's piercing of the body of Lord Krishna is a sort of bewildering problem for the non-devotee atheist, but those who are devotees or liberated souls are not bewildered. Bhishma Dev appreciated the all-merciful attitude of the Lord because he did not leave Arjuna alone, although he was disturbed by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma Dev, nor was he reluctant to come before Bhishma Dev's deathbed, even though he was ill-treated by him on the battlefield. Bhishma Dev's repentance and the Lord's merciful attitude are both unique in this picture. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a great acharya and devotee in the humor of conjugal love with the Lord, remarks very saliently in this regard. He says that the wounds created on the body of the Lord by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma Dev were as pleasing to the Lord as the biting of a fiancé who bites the body of the Lord directed by a strong sense of sex desire. Such biting by the opposite sex is never taken as a sign of enmity, even if there is a wound on the body. Therefore, the fighting as an exchange of transcendental pleasure between the Lord and his devotee, Sri Bhishma Dev, was not at all mundane. So, he is giving another explanation, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, of course, this is a bit wouldn't discuss it publicly, but Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gave the explanation, so it is there. So, in sexual relationship, if the woman bites, in extreme sense, sex pleasure, if she bites the man, so such wounds are not really taken as enmity, so they are And I think they call love bites or something. I think there is a word for that. So, so that example is given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here, and therefore it's actually an offering of love by Bhishma Dev, and not really, and the Lord also did not take it in the wrong way. But Bhishma Dev seemed to be regretting that he had acted that way. But that was the relationship between him and the Lord, chivalrous mood, the mood of a servitor. So the Lord wanted him to behave like that, and so he behaved like that, to teach others lessons. So Bhishma Dev was in the opposite camp. How? Why? Because he is a pure devotee. He would never go against Krishna. But why was he against? Because that was the order of the Lord. So according to the order of the Lord, the devotee will play any role. Like the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, they agreed to be demons and be the best demons that can be. I mean, if anybody wants to be a first class demon, he can be inspired by Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shishupala, Dantavakra, first class demons. That's why even Prahlad Maharaj told, "Oh Asuravarya, best of the demons." So that kind of, whatever the devotee does, he does it in the best possible way, best service. So if the Lord wants the devotee to be a demon and fight with him, he will do it in the best possible way. Just like a good actor, he will play any role. So similarly, a devotee will play any role for the pleasure of the Lord, even if that means fighting for him or fighting with him, or anything. Just like the gopis, when they were asked the dust, take as much as you want. No, you will go to hell if you. No, never mind. Let us go to hell. So what? The Lord must be pleased. If that means hell to us, so be it. That hell is better than for us, because the Lord is pleased. So that mood of a devotee is very unique. He will serve the Lord in any capacity that the Lord wants. So Sri Bhishma Dev was not at all mundane. Such biting by the opposite sex is never taken as a sign of enmity, even if there is a wound on the body. Therefore, the fighting as an exchange of transcendental pleasure between the Lord and his pure devotee Sri Bhishma Dev was not at all mundane. Besides that, since the Lord's body and the Lord are identical, there was no possibility of wounds in the absolute body. The apparent wounds caused by the sharpened arrows are misleading to the common man, but one who has a little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relation. So there are 5 relations, primary relations: Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. But there are also 7 other indirect relationships, of which one is chivalry. Chivalry means like in a mood of challenging spirit, but not exactly challenging the Lord in a atheistic way, but just like Sridhama. Sridhama, he was friend of Krishna among the cowherd boys. So this Sridhama would always challenge Krishna. Come, let's fight with me. Come and see how strong you are. And always Sridhama would defeat Krishna. Whereas Krishna would, defeat all the big demons, and when the demons come, Sridhama is nowhere to be found. But when there is no demon, Sridhama will become the big fighter, and he will fight with Krishna and defeat Krishna. But when the demons come, he is nowhere to be found. He hides behind Krishna. So in that way, these are all loving relationships. But Sridhama was very expert in fighting, very, very expert, and he would satisfy the Lord with his stick fighting and in his grappling and everything, all these things. So that is called chivalry. Chivalry means that challenging mood. Come, let's fight. That kind of mood. The apparent wounds caused by the sharpened arrows are misleading to the common man, but one who has little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relation. The Lord was perfectly happy with the wounds caused by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma Dev. The word Vibhidyamana is significant because the Lord's skin is not different from the Lord. Because our skin is different from our soul, in our case the word Vibhidyamana or being bruised and cut would have been quite suitable. Transcendental bliss is of different varieties, and the variety of activities in the mundane world is but a perverted reflection of transcendental bliss. So everything that we see in this world, good or bad, is actually a reflection of what is already there in the spiritual world. Just like we have yesterday discussed about the fact that we can see mango, the reflection of mango in the water. That means there is real mango. Only that which is existing in reality can be reflected in a reflection. So there will be nothing in a reflection that is not already there in reality. So a mirror will only reflect what is there. It will not create something. A mirror does not create a form. It will reflect a form that is already there. So similarly, this material world is a perverted reflection. Perverted means opposite. Like that tree example. So the tree is upright, and the perverted reflection means the tree is upside down in the reflection. So this is perverted, the opposite than what it is. So the highest part of the tree will be the lowest part in the reflection. So similarly, the highest bliss, that is Ras Leela, where Krishna has this paramour love. The what is that? Swakya Parakiya Rasa. That means the seeming relationship as if he was dancing with other people's wives. Actually, Radharani is nobody owns her except Krishna. But it looks like, she has a husband, so that specific mood of a Parakiya Bhav can be brought out. So in that way she is represented, but otherwise everybody actually belongs to Krishna. So anyway, that mood is there. That mood is very abominable in the material world, because in the reflection, that is the lowest part. What is the highest on the tree will be the lowest in the reflection. So the gopis' love is so high. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the strictest sannyasi that can be, he himself said, Ramya Kachadupasana Vrajavadhu Vargenaya Kalpita. Nobody can worship Krishna better than the gopis. So that high level of bhakti, in the material world, that same relationship, an extramarital affair in this material world, is the most abominable, the lowest, the worst behavior. So that's how this is called perverted reflection, upside down reflection. So that said, there is also, the truth is that nothing exists in the reflection if it is not in reality. So if there is blood here, there is also blood in the Lord. But he has no veins. So how the blood is running? So he can run the blood anyway. And the blood is not different from him. And it doesn't affect him. For us, if the blood comes out from our body, or when there is a flower thrown on us, the feeling is different. The flower is very soft, but the blood is very painful when there is an open wound. But the Lord took arrows from the greatest archer of his time, Bhishma Dev, and he was not killed in the first place, and he enjoyed those arrows like they were flower offerings. Etani pushpani, Om Klim Krishnaya Namaha. Like that he offered arrows. But the Lord took it, and he was very happy, you see. He said that. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also gave his example there. It's a wound of love, not of enmity. Transcendental bliss is of different varieties, and the variety of activities in the mundane world is but a perverted reflection of transcendental bliss. Because everything in the mundane world is qualitatively mundane, it is full of inebrieties. Inebrieties means imperfections. So here everything is imperfect. When there is a wound, it is something that is not very, nobody likes to see that. It is not a very welcome scene. But for the Lord, everything is welcome. So that is the absolute nature. Nothing, here anger is bad, but in the Lord anger is good. So everything that may appear good or bad in this world is all good in Krishna. And it is not that Krishna only smiles. He gets angry also, like Narasimhadev. But that is also as auspicious as his smile, the anger of the Lord. So that way. It is full of inebrieties, whereas in the absolute realm, because everything is of the same absolute nature, there are varieties of enjoyment without inebriety. The Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishma Dev, and because Bhishma Dev is a devotee in the chivalrous relation, he fixes up his mind on Krishna in that wounded condition. In fact, you see, he fixed up his mind on Krishna in that wounded condition. So he was meditating on Krishna. Oh, Krishna has blood on him. Usually, if you love someone, you don't like to picture him when he's all wounded. Suppose a soldier, and he has his wife, and the wife will not keep a picture of her husband where he's all wounded with some bullet wounds and all that, with all blood on him. She doesn't keep a picture like that in the house and say, "Wow, I love you." She doesn't say that. She doesn't like to see the husband in that condition, in the wounded condition, right? But Bhishma Dev was meditating on Krishna in that wounded condition. You see, the reason is because of the chivalrous relation that he has with the Lord. So that wounded Krishna is a source of pleasure for Bhishma Dev. At the same time, he has this regret that I have shot the arrow at him, but still Krishna is so kind that he has come before me at this crucial hour of my death, and still is, giving me his audience and treating me as his devotee. So in that way, that sweet relationship is there between Bhishma Dev and Krishna. So anyway, coming back to the point of veins. So he doesn't have veins, but he does these pastimes to bewilder the atheists and to satisfy his devotees like Bhishma Dev, and even acharyas have the explanation of why this is so. So even though he may accept curses or he may accept these kind of wounds, he accepts it from his devotees. The non-devotees cannot do anything to him, cannot touch him. Like the demons, what could they do to him? Kamsa and all these demons, what did they do to him? They could do nothing. And even today, of course, those demons were fortunate enough to be killed by Krishna, and Krishna gave them liberation. But even today also, atheists will say, "Oh, there is no God. Who cares?" So that doesn't affect the Lord in any way. His existence, his bliss will not be affected. The Lord is sad to hear such atheistic comments, not for himself but for that person, because that person has to suffer now. So a devotee is also sad to see an atheist, like that. So because that atheist also is a son of Krishna. So actually, as a father, the father is a little bit sad for the son that he doesn't want to take my protection, he doesn't want to take my shelter. So he's sad for him, but personally he's not sad. And because of that sadness for us, that he wants us to be happy, he comes down here. And despite we having forsaken him, he comes here and spreads his glories and gives his teachings, and so that we can be elevated. Alright, going back. So the anatomy of a material body must have a mechanical construction with veins and so forth, but the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord has nothing like veins. It is clearly stated here that he is unembodied, which means that there is no difference between his body and his soul. Try to understand. There is no difference between his body and his soul. We have a difference here. That's why we say this is my body. But Krishna's body and his soul, there is no difference. His soul and his body is no different. Nor is he forced to accept a body according to the laws of nature as we are. You see, he says that in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, avyaya means without deterioration, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. He doesn't change bodies like we do. Every single birth we have a different body, right? But the Lord also incarnates many times, but he does not reincarnate like us. He comes in his same spiritual body. Whether he comes as a boar, a varaha, or whether he comes as a Narsimha, or whether he comes as Kurma, or whether he comes as Matsya, as a fish or a tortoise, or a boar, or a half man, half lion, or anything, or whether he comes as a deity, it's not different body, although it may appear different, but it is the same transcendental body in my original transcendental form. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. You see? So that is how Krishna comes. That's why Krishna says in the previous verse 4.5, that was 4.6 just now, now 4.5, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. The personality of God has said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. So why Krishna can remember all his births? Because he never changed his body. When we change our body, we forget. That's why we forget what we did 1 week ago. Because it's not the same body as what we have now. Our body is changing every second. You see? So we are never having the same body, so we always forget, but he never forgets. In materially conditioned life, the soul is different from the gross embodiment and subtle mind. For the Supreme Lord, however, there is never any such difference between him and his body and mind. See, there is no difference between him, his body, and also his mind, his heart. There is no difference. There is no difference between him, his heart, his mind, his intelligence, and him, his name, his form, his pastimes, his book, the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. There is no difference between the book and Krishna. There is no difference between the name and Krishna. There is no difference between his mind and himself. That is called absolute. That is called Advaitam. No duality. Abhinnatvan namanamino. That is called pure oneness. Real existence, real absolute. There is no relativity in him. The so-called relativities that exist in us exist in him, but in complete harmony, and they don't contradict. Now, for the Supreme Lord, however, there is never any such difference between him and his body and mind. He is the complete whole, and his mind, body, and he himself are all one and the same. And that's the reason why he can do anything with any of his senses. He can see with his feet, he can smell with his eyes, he can taste with his fingers or his heart, he can taste with his mind. All is angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. So he can do anything from any of his senses, but we can only see with our eyes. We can't hear with our eyes. So we are limited. So the Lord is unlimited. In the sense, it is not just he is unlimited and he cannot have a finite form. No, he is unlimited and at the same time he has a finite form. And in that finite form, although then you can say how he can have only two eyes. That's limited. There is a number 2. Yeah, but with that 2 eyes, he sees everything. How is that possible? Sarvata pani padam tat sarvatokshi shiromukham. He has eyes everywhere. So, although he has 2 eyes, and those 2 eyes also are not limited in their function, that they can only see, like our eyes, we can only see when the light is on. We can't see infrared, we can't see ultraviolet, we can't see too big, we can't see too small. We can't see many things with our eyes, so limited. Only under very, very small condition we can see. So, our eyes are so limited, but his eyes are not only limited to seeing everything, infrared or ultraviolet or even the soul, the mind. We cannot see the soul, we cannot see the mind, but he can see. So he can see everything, and not only he can see, but he can also smell, he can also taste. So that is the meaning of infinite, that is the meaning of unlimited. You cannot even conceive, you cannot even imagine what he can do, and that's the Supreme Lord. That's the existence of the Supreme Lord. So in this way we have to understand, he is the complete whole, and his mind, body, and he himself are all one and the same. That's why another important thing here is to be understood, that the Lord sometimes, caste system, they make, they can make a big hoo-ha about caste system, that, let's see, and similarly, there is no difference in service also to him. Whether one is a temple president or whether one is a sweeper in the temple, there's no difference. There's no difference. Essentially, there's no difference. It's the same. This is the absolute nature of Krishna and his devotional service also. Although it looks different, there are all varieties of devotional service, but everything is same. Hanuman was throwing big boulders, big mountain peaks to create the Ram Setu, that bridge to Lanka. And squirrel was dropping, small pebbles, But for the Ramachandra Bhagavan, everything was the same. Because he was doing his best, Hanuman was doing his best, the squirrel was doing his best. So that mood of complete surrender is what he is accepting. He is not accepting. Even a big mountain peak is nothing for him. Big universes are, he is breathing in and out. What is a mountain for him? It's some small speck of sand, for him. But he is accepting. Hanuman, okay, you are throwing mountain peak, fine, good. He is accepting. So, and squirrel is also throwing one small stone. For the Hanuman size of that mountain, I mean big boulders, yeah, the stone is small. But for the Lord, from whose breathing universes are coming out, for him what is a mountain? Even a whole universe itself is like a mustard seed, and there are like a sack of millions and trillions and gazillions of mustard seeds. So how does it all matter? How can we ever adequately serve the Lord? We can never adequately serve Him. So whatever service we can do, that is equally accepted by the Lord, provided our bhavagrahi janardhan, bhavagrahi. So if my bhava is to serve the Lord sincerely, whatever service I am doing, whatever service I am allotted, if I am doing it sincerely, that's it. The Lord will accept that. Now, here, I want to bring your attention to this. Now, we have understood that there is no difference between his legs, his face, his mind, his body, and he himself. There is no difference, right? Now, here, this verse, this is about the caste system. Mukhabahurupādebhyah puruṣasyāśramayhi saha Tattvaro jagnire varna gunair vipradayah prithak. Sri Chamasa said, each of the 4 social orders headed by the Brahmanas was born through the different combinations of the modes of nature from the face, arms, thighs and feet of the Supreme Lord in his universal form. Thus the 4 spiritual orders were also generated. So the caste system, those who are against caste system, they say, oh, you see, the Shudras are from the feet and the Brahmanas are from the head. There's so much discrimination. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. There's no difference as long as, yes, Shudra, yes, he may not have as much intelligence. Like sometimes, that topic always comes up, oh, woman less intelligent, oh. But again, when they serve the Lord, He accepts everybody's service equally. So the Shudra can do his role, and Vaishyas can do his role, and the Kshatriyas, they do their role, and Brahmanas, they do their role, and the women, they do their role. So although everybody have their own roles, variegated roles, but the result of such service is the same, the pleasure of Krishna. And because of that, for Krishna, there is no difference in such service. This we have to understand. The absolute nature of devotional service, the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. And because there is no difference between his feet or his mouth, the river Ganga which is coming from his feet or the Bhagavad Gita that is coming from his mouth are both purifying. Whatever he speaks and whatever the Ganga that is coming, so Charanamrita and the Mukhamrita, everything is same. So everything, Mukharvinda, that's why they say Mukharvinda. So whatever comes from the Mukharvinda of the Lord, whatever comes from the Padarvinda of the Lord, same. So everything is Arvinda, everything is lotus. That Namah Pankaja Nabhaya, Namah Pankaja Maline, Namah Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Everything is lotus. I'll show you that verse. Everything is beautiful about the Lord. That's why He is the Kalyanatamam, the most auspicious form, the most perfect form. His form is the most perfect. And when we say perfect, it's not just the proportion and the symmetry and everything. No, not just that. The things that He can do with His form and the things, His activities and all His pastimes that He does, everything is so perfect. Madhuram, 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 Madhuram. That is the Lord. Everything is Madhuram. Everything is sweet. So, Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetra, Namaste Pankajangraye. Kunti Devi is praying like this. Oh, my respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. So in this way there is so much beauty that we can't even Vishesha Shobham, we can't even imagine the beauty of Krishna. So even the Varnashram system is a perfect system. And if everybody does their duty in service to the Lord, because actually all these Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, they're all meant to serve the Lord. Varnashram acharavata purushena parah puman Vishnuraradhyate panta nanya tattosha karanam. There's no other cause for the creation of the Varnashram than to for the pleasure of Lord Narayana, Vishnu. Vishnu Aradhyate Pantha. So that is the way to worship Vishnu. So everybody have their own, yes, talents, they have their own levels of intelligence or IQ, EQ, SQ, whatever it is. But no, SQ is same for everybody. Spiritual quotient, that is accessible to everyone, irrespective of one's EQ and IQ. If one is, what is that? Willing to surrender to the Supreme Lord, is submissive, that's it. Anyone can come to him. Why Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita that 9:32, Mam hi parthavyapashritya yepi syuh papayonayah striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas and shudras can attain the supreme destination. Everybody can attain. So that's why we should not bicker over, oh, how can you say less intelligent, more intelligent, higher, lower, this, that, all this division of castes and all this. We have to, first of all, everybody cannot do everything. So everybody have their own different propensities. Like some people are into agriculture, some people are into administration, some people are into just offering menial service sincerely, and some people are more scholarly, they are more Brahmanical. So in this way everybody have their thing. It is not one thing is better than the other. When it comes to serving the Lord, everything is same, everything is beautiful, everything is acceptable to the Lord, provided we serve under the guidance of a pure devotee. That should be there, under the guidance of pure devotees. Again, not with pride, with humility. Again, with pride, see, he is bhavagrahi Janardhan. He does not accept our service as very great, because as we said, even a mountain or anything is nothing, even a universe is not. Even Vasudev Ghosh, the most merciful devotee, this is actually a Vaishnava, he is a representation of all Vaishnavas. So he said that he begged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vasudev Ghosh was so distressed by seeing the miseries of the conditioned souls in the universe. He saw everybody suffering so much. Then he prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, he was actually a contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please, I ask you one benediction. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what is it? No, you transfer all the sinful reactions of all the souls within this universe and let me suffer for all their sins, because I just can't see them suffering like this. They're suffering so much, I can't see them suffering like this. Please give them liberation and make this universe empty with just me here, and let me suffer for millions of aeons for all this. Please transfer everything to me, because I can't see them suffering. So in this way he prayed. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and said, Vasudev Ghosh, this is a very noble thought indeed, but even if this entire universe is completely empty, it becomes empty and nobody is there, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? Because this universe is just like one mustard seed in a bag of millions of mustard seeds. Even if this universe is made empty and it is all the inhabitants are liberated, still there are millions of, it doesn't make almost any difference. So therefore, although Krishna says, one who preaches my message is the most dearest to me, but Vasudeva Ghosh set example that he wanted to deliver the entire universe. So, but the Lord said, what is the difference even if the entire universe is gone? So please don't be worried like this, you just be happy in your devotional service. So he consoled Vasudeva Ghosh like that, and he appreciated his Vaishnava quality that he wants to deliver others. So Vasudeva Ghosh was so powerful that he can deliver the entire universe, all the inhabitants, all the trillions and gazillions of souls here. Even then, actually, if you take by mathematics, it doesn't make any difference to the Lord. Although Krishna says that a preacher is the most dear to me, but a preacher who can deliver all the souls of this universe, still it is no big deal for the Lord, actually. So just by preaching to 1-2 people, if we think we are a great soul, I have preached, I have made him devotee, I have made 10 devotees or 100 devotees or 1000 devotees. For the Lord it's nothing. Even if the whole universe is gone, everybody is liberated, still there are millions of, it doesn't make a difference to the Lord. It's not a very great service for the Lord. But this Lord is so kind that he takes, like, let's see that verse. Where is that verse? I think it's There is this nice verse actually. I'll take out that verse. Yes, this is actually taken from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, composed by Srila Rupa Goswami. It is also to be found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, chapter 1, text 108. Bhrityasya pashyati guru napinaparadhan sevam managapi kritam bahudhabhyupaiti avishkaroti pishuneshvapi nabhyasuyam shīlena nirmalamatihi Purushottamoyam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Purushottama, the greatest of all persons, has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even if his servant is implicated in a great offense, he does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities. So this is the Supreme Lord. So he accepts our service as very great and he glorifies the preachers. But actually, even if one manages to preach to the entire universe and delivers the entire universe, like Vasudev Ghosh, still, mathematically, it's no big deal for the Lord, because there are millions of other universes like that. So that's why we should always know that no matter how much we serve the Lord, it is never adequate. So it's never about adequacy, it's about doing our best for the pleasure of the Lord. And when we do our 100 or our 1000% to the Lord, that's what the Lord wants to see. Taking all risks, taking all troubles, if you want to serve Him, just like Prabhupada. He took risk and he went, and 2 heart attacks on the ship when he had nobody to call his own. He had nobody to call his own. He has nobody there. He's all left alone and there's no doctors, nothing. So, and he was old and so much risk, and when he went there, he was just going with a 1-month visa to United States and he wanted to start this worldwide movement. Nothing is visible, just like when there is a fog, you can't see what is in front of you, just 10 meters from you. Beyond that, you cannot see what is there. So like that, materially speaking, only that much could be seen. That, okay, if you calculate materially, if you want to be a logician and through logic you want to see what Prabhupada would have achieved. If you were there at Prabhupada's time and he was going to America and you said, alright, he was like going to be 70 years old and he has a 1-month visa. Okay, see you in a month. Right? Or maybe I'll never see you again. That's what the Sumati Morarji was telling him. You are old man and it's so cold for you, you will die. And you have nobody there, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? So, nothing. There was absolute hopelessness. In the face of seemingly absolute hopelessness, he went for the pleasure of his spiritual master, for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. He went. And what came out of that is the greatest blessing of Kali Yuga. The greatest blessing of Kali Yuga. And that is what Krishna wants to see. Are we prepared to give our 1000%, not just our 100%? 100% is what we can see 10 meters into the distance. Beyond that, we can't see. So are we prepared to take the leap, having complete faith in the Lord and serve Him? That's what He wants to see. 100% means until what you can see. That's not really. He wants to see 1000% from us. And when He sees that, yes, taking all risks, taking everything, our real very best, that bhava is what He wants to see, and that is what will satisfy Him. In fact, when Jatayu, the vulture, he saw Sita being kidnapped by Ravan, and she was crying, and then Jatayu went to fight with Ravan, and in the fight, Jatayu lost his wing and he fell to the ground. And then when Ram and Lakshman, they were searching, and in their way they met Jatayu, and Jatayu said, I am a failure. I have failed to serve you. No, whoever gives his life for me, he is never a failure. So even though we may sometimes, Prabhupada even said like this in one of the purports, or was it a lecture or a letter, something like that. So he said, sometimes it may be seen that even a great preacher may die while preaching or taking risks for the Lord. But even that is never a loss, or that is never a failure. Because dying on the battlefield, for a Kshatriya for example, if he dies on the battlefield, is the most glorious death. So Prabhupada said, dying in Vrindavan is good, but I wanted to go to America. And even if I died there, that would have been a most glorious death in the battlefield fighting for Krishna, if I die. But the Lord is so kind that He brought me back to Vrindavan in my final days. So Prabhupada was telling like this, and it's very, very heart touching. So how Krishna takes care of His devotees, who takes all risks beyond their measure, beyond their even wildest imagination, that is very, very sweet relationship between the Lord and His devotees. And the Lord accepts it as such a great service. In fact, Krishna personally came and massaged Prabhupada's heart, when he had this heart attack. Prabhupada revealed that to his devotees. Krishna personally came and massaged his heart. What can be more sweeter on the part of the Lord than that, And He made sure that Prabhupada's glory spread far and wide, not just during his lifetime, but for all eternity. There is no personality like him in the entire Kali Yuga, in fact. So that's why we are so much pushing forward this Diksha, this Ritvik initiations system also, because that was Prabhupada's glory. He is the spiritual master for the next 10,000 years, and nobody can take that away from him. So there's no sacrifice equal to his. What he did is unprecedented and unimaginable. And he made the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come true in this world. So we can never repay the service that Srila Prabhupada had rendered to us. So that's why the most we can do is give our life to his preaching mission. And that's how we should always think and we should act. Okay. In the Brahma Samhita, so he is the complete whole, and his mind, body and he himself are all one and the same. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1, there is a similar description of the Supreme Lord. He is described there as Sachidananda Vigraha, which means that he is the eternal form, fully representing transcendental existence, knowledge and bliss. As such, he does not require a separate body or mind as we do in material existence. See, he has a Sachidananda Vigraha. So Prabhupada also explained that. Sat Chit Ananda. We have explained this before. So Sat means eternal, and Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. Vigraha. His form, Vigraha means form. So his form, his body, which is not different from himself, is full of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Whereas if you compare that with our body, it is Asat, it is not eternal, it is temporary, it is Achit, it is full of ignorance, and it is Nirananda. There is no Ananda there. It is a temple of diseases, it's a source of all troubles. This body is an infection on the pure spirit soul. So it is actually a source of trouble. So our body is not completely different from his. So that is the meaning when it says Akayam. Today's verse, Sapariyaga Chukram Akayam. Akayam means he has no body. That means he has no body like us. He has no Asat, Achit and Nirananda body. He has a Satchit Ananda body. He is described there as Sachidananda Vigraha, which means that he is the eternal form fully representing transcendental existence, knowledge and bliss. He is the eternal form fully representing the transcendental existence, knowledge and bliss. As such, he does not require a separate body or mind as we do in material existence. The Vedic literature clearly states that the Lord's transcendental body is completely different from ours. Thus, he is sometimes described as formless. This means that he has no form like ours and that he is devoid of a form we can conceive of. So, he is devoid of a form we can conceive of. So, we can conceive of all material things in our material life. Only when we are awakened to our spiritual reality, then we can see the Lord in His pure spiritual existence. But now we cannot. So He has no form that we can conceive of. It means He has no form in the material world. He has completely spiritual form. But He, out of His extreme causeless mercy, He comes to this world in the form of the deity, the Archa Murti, Archa Vigraha, where He comes in a form which we can see. What is that? Shaili, Darumayi, Lauhi, Lepya, Lekhya, Chasaikati, Manomimayi, Manimayi, Pratimashtavidha Smrita, 8 kinds of deity forms. So made of Lauhi, what is that? Shaili, stone, or Shaili Darumayi. Darumayi means wooden, like Jagannath. Jagannath form is made of wood. So Darumayi and Lauhi means metal. Lepya means painting. Is that? Lekhya means painting. Let me see. Okay. Saikati means sand. And Manomimayi means in the mind. And Manimayi with jewels. With jewels we can also make the form of the Lord. In fact, we have one painting here. It's here actually, just beside Prabhupada. It's a Krishna form painting, but it's not exactly a painting. It's a studded with all gems. So it is full of jewels, but it's a Krishna form, nice, beautiful. So that is Manimayi. But let me see that Lepya, Lekhya. One is painting, and the other is what? 11:27:12. Lepya, made of clay, sandalwood and other substances laid down as paste. And Lekhya means painted. So yeah. So Lepya means like with clay or sandalwood and other substances laid down as a paste. So yeah. So Lepya, Lekhya. So sometimes Rangoli also they do. So many ways that, but all are worshipable. So these are all material elements though. But although He is pure spirit, He is manifesting before us in this way to increase our devotion. Like when we see the paintings that are in ISKCON, that all our Hare Krishna paintings, how beautiful they are. How I think all of you can attest to the fact. Tell me in the comments if you have seen the paintings like for very long and really appreciated the beauty of the paintings that are there. All the paintings that we have, aren't they very beautiful? Haven't you looked at those paintings and said that wow, this is so beautiful, and just gazed at them for so long? So if you have, just please let me know in the comments. So this is something which every devotee can relate to. So although it is a material print, ink, that painting was of paint, but then it was reproduced in ink, and in ink Krishna's form is there, and how nicely it is there, and everybody appreciates the beauty. There's still no comments. Have you enjoyed the paintings or not? So let me know in the comments. Yeah, beautiful paintings. Yeah, as Virendra Prabhu said, does the spiritual paintings of Krishna pastimes in Prabhupada's movement are a gateway or a glimpse to the spiritual world? So Prabhupada said these are the windows to the spiritual world. So when you are looking at this painting, you are actually looking at through a window, and you're looking at the spiritual world in fact. So that painting, although it is like a painting, it is actually a window to the spiritual world. You're seeing what is outside in the spiritual world. So that's how Prabhupada describes the paintings. So that's how, yeah, and Virendra Prabhu is sketching some of them. Yeah, I saw some of his sketches, beautiful. So that is how, although they were material, but it inspires. Nothing material can inspire spiritual feelings in us. So there's nothing immaterial that can inspire spiritual feelings. It has to be from the spirit. So like Bhagavad Gita, it's made of paper. So paper is a material thing, but when we read Bhagavad Gita, it inspires us spiritually. It enlightens us. So how can we get a spiritual inspiration from something material? It's impossible. Spirit drives matter. Matter does not drive spirit, right? this body is not moving the soul is moving the body, right? So the material thing cannot move the spirit, whether physically moving or moving us with inspiration. Nothing material can move us, inspire us spiritually. So how come a material book or a material ink or a color can inspire us spiritually? That means they are not material. How can prasadam purify our mind? Although there may seemingly be material ingredients like rice or wheat or something like this, vegetables or something like this, seemingly material ingredients, but how can the prasadam be so tasty and so purifying that one is addicted to it, and and in a good way? And when we eat, and our not only that, our brain gets purified. Actually, there's a nice description by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where the other day I was showing in the Prasadam lecture. Maybe if you can take that out, that chapter, that few verses where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, how is it that the same ingredients, the same salt and everything, and all the vegetables, but this prasadam is so tasty, uncommon taste. So when Jagannath prasadam was brought and when he eats, actually that is whole thing is there in that Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concludes that because it is tasted by Krishna, it is no more material, it is spiritual, therefore it inspires us spiritually. So nothing material can inspire us spiritually, but only spirit can inspire us. It can move even matter. That's why it is said sometimes the love of Rupa Goswami, the humility of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami was so unbearable that it could melt even stone. That much love they had for the Lord. They were so humble. And that attracts, that can even melt the stone. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will see in Jagannath Puri temple this thing. How many of you have been to Jagannath Puri temple? And if you look closely, the form of the Lord is there, and then there is this Garuda Stambha. And the Lord was, with his fingers, he was just looking at the Lord, but he, the love was so much that the fingers where he put the fingers, there was depression, the stone melted actually. Even now, the Garuda Stambha, you can see the depressions in the marks of a finger, 3 fingers there on the Garuda Stambha of Jagannath Puri temple, Jagannath temple. See that? So he can move even matter. So of course the soul can move matter. Now our body is moving, because of the soul, but even the love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so so purifying his benediction that it can move even stone. So he has a Sachidananda Vigraha, but of course his mercy is that he comes even as Archa Vigraha, so that we can see and be inspired by and be more and more attached to the Lord. In his deity, when we say deity, we also mean painting, we also mean deity in wooden form or metal form or stone form. Like even in our altar, Radha Krishna and Gaurnitai made of marble, Jagannath wood, and Narasimhadev made of metal. So in this way, and of course paintings are there. In our temple there are so many paintings, and the paintings in the books, and then the jewel painting I also told you about. And sometimes you see those sand art. I don't know if you've seen Jagannath. There is one in the Facebook. I have seen this person from Odisha. So he does these sand forms of Jagannath. So that is also a worshipable form. And sometimes in Rangoli also they do. I think I have shared that video with some of the devotees in our group WhatsApp. So this Mataji, I don't know who she made a nice Jagannath with Rangoli colors. She made a nice Jagannath face. And very very beautiful. So all these are deities. When we say deity, all of them. So all the forms of Krishna. Of course, according to the Shastric description. We cannot draw Krishna in our own way. That again, we cannot do it our own way. We should do exactly as what is given by Guru Sadhu Shastra. Then that is spiritual. Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatriki Vidhimana. So it has to be in accordance with the scriptural descriptions, and then those paintings are authorized. Otherwise, that is idol worship. That is making our own fantasy, like Spider-Man, Batman. These are all simply wild creations of a human mind. So those forms don't do any good. In fact, they just make us fools. I don't know. But if we if we get attached to the forms of the Lord as described in the Shastras, as devotees saw him, that is authorized, and that is purifying. Alright. So as such, he does not require a separate body or mind as we do in material existence. The Vedic literature clearly states that the Lord's transcendental body is completely different from ours. Thus, he is sometimes described as formless. This means that he has no form like ours and that he is devoid of a form that we can conceive of. In the Brahma Samhita 5.32, it is further stated that with each and every part, where are we? Each and every part of his body, he can do the work of the other senses. This means that the Lord can walk with his hands, accept things with his legs, see with his hands and feet, eat with his eyes, etc. In the Shruti mantras, it is also said that although the Lord has no hands and legs like ours, he has a different type of hands and legs by which he can accept all that we offer him and run faster than anyone. We have seen that in the previous verses. Anejadekam manasojaviyo. He doesn't walk, but he walks faster than the mind. All these descriptions. These points are confirmed in this 8th mantra through the use of words like Shukram, omnipotent. This is called omnipotent. So, potent is one thing. Shukram means potency. Sometimes Shukra is also referred to the semen of the man, because in that there is the potency of because the soul takes shelter of the semen of a man and is injected into the womb of a woman, and that's how the body develops, but the soul is injected from the semen of the man. So in that way the birth takes place. So semen is also called Shukra, but also Shukram means actually potency. So Shukram in today's verse, Saparyagat Shukram, Saparyagat Shukram. So Shukram means omnipotent. In his case, in the Lord's case, which is Shukram, it's omnipotency, everything. He has the potency to do everything. So bija, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, bija. Just like the man, he injects the seed into the womb of woman. So similarly the seed, so that is seed in one way, but the seed of a tree, that is also the potency. The potency that is there in the tree, because of which the tree comes out, the shape of the leaves are different, the structure of the tree is different, and the flowers of fruits is produced is different, the taste of the fruits and flowers, everything is different. It's all because of that seed. So in that seed is the potency of the entire tree, and in that tree there is the potency of another millions of fruits, and each fruit with hundreds or thousands of seeds. So in that way, in one seed there is potency of millions and trillions of trees in one seed. So this is called Shukra, omnipotence of the Lord. So that is the omnipotence. In fact, even when a father, it is called potency because through him there is expansion of the family, and then there is millions and millions of people will come in the future because of that one soul that comes out of the father's semen. So in that way it is called also Shukra. But that is, how did the father get that? Because Krishna put that rule, how people should be born. So he made that rule. So the omnipotent Lord gave that potency to the man, and in that way, not only in human society, but in every species there is this, and there is a bija. That's why Krishna says bija ham sarva bhutanam. That he says in the Bhagavad Gita. So in that way, he is the source of all potencies, and therefore he is called omnipotent. And when he is omnipotent, he can not only invest his potency into others, like each of us are given a certain amount of powers. Like a father can beget a child and cause another soul to come into this world. That is some power given, to their father. So he has invested every one of us with certain powers. Some of those powers are limited. Some of those powers are even more like the demigods. They have much higher powers. They can control the weather. They can control everything. So many things, sun and all that, which is beyond our control. But accordingly, as our karma allows, we are given different grades of power and potency. And whatever potency we have is just minuscule versions of the real potency of the Lord. And that's why Shukram in his case means omnipotent, source of all potencies, and he himself does unlimited, inconceivable things with his potency. Shukram. The Lord's worshipable form, Archa Vigraha, which is installed in temples by authorized acharyas, who have realized the Lord in terms of mantra 7, this is very important. The deity form in the temple can be installed by acharyas who have realized the Lord in terms of mantra 7. That means they see everywhere. That means only a pure devotee can install the deity in the temple. So how did we install the deity in the temple then? Because we are doing under the guidance of Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So under his guidance, under his rule, how he asked to do it, that's how we do it. That's how we are inviting the Lord. Not just we keep a stone and then we worship him. We have to invite. Therefore, if you know, in 2017, 3 years back, we did installation ceremony for Sri Sri Gauranitai. So there is a sthapana, Murti Sthapana ceremony, the installation of the deity. That means, what does installation means? That means you are inviting the Lord into this form and accept services from his devotees through this form. So that is the installation ceremony. So there is a request and there is so many promises made when in that ceremony also, that we will offer you this. Every day we will offer you 7 offerings. In this way there is promise to the Lord. So these are all installation ceremonies. So if we are inviting the Lord into this form, and his because the murti is done. If you see the sculptors, they put their leg on the murti and everything. That's how the sculptors do it. So anyway, when the Lord comes here, so we are begging the Lord for forgiveness of all the contaminations that were there in the making of the murti, and he is bathed in the auspicious ingredients, cow urine and cow dung and milk and panchagavya and panchamrita, all these auspicious articles he is worshipped with. And then there is a fire sacrifice, again full Harinam Sankirtan going on, and in that way the Lord is invited to accept that murti form in which he accepts services from his devotees and thus to purify us. So that is the installation ceremony, that's the prayer to the Lord. Please come and accept this form and accept our services through this form. So that's how only a pure devotee can actually invite the Lord. Just like Advaita Acharya, he invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. So the Lord will not come upon anyone's invitation. Just like Hiranyakashipu, he said, "Where is your God? Show me, show me, show me." He did not answer his. So Prahlad said, "Yes, he is there." The Lord accepted Prahlad's invitation. "Oh, you have invited me, I will come in this pillar." And that's how Narasimhadev came. So he only answers his devotees' calls. And if a devotee curses him, then he will accept the devotee's curses also. But the non-devotee curses him or invites him, he will not come. So that is the difference between non-devotee and devotee dealings. He deals only affectionately with devotees. So only a pure devotee, that too. We are also not classified as devotees actually. Technically speaking, we are doing 16 round minimum we are chanting because Prabhupada asks us to chant. We can't chant 64 rounds, we can't chant all the time. We don't have, yes, we are trying by the mercy of Prabhupada, that too. We are trying, but we don't have, we don't, there's no standing, we have no, like that verse, which has become my favorite verse now actually. So this is our actual position, because, let's see. Until yesterday we were, complete atheists and non-devotees, and now only we are trying to become some devotee. And suddenly how can we think we are so pure devotee that Lord has to accept our invitation and he will come? The Lord comes because of the mercy of the pure devotee. That's why even though the form of the Lord is there, one cannot worship him adequately at all unless one is guided by pure devotee. Na prema shravanadi bhaktirapi va yogotha va vaishnavo jnanam va shubha karma va kiyadaho sajjatirapyasti va hinarthadhika sadhake tvayi tatha pyachedya mula sati he gopi janavallabhavyatayate ha ha madashaiva mam. 23.29 Madhya Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita. O my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing, nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge or pious activities, nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen, I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. That hope is always giving me pain. So, this is how we should look at things. So we are not qualified, but by Srila Prabhupada, just like we offer every day food to Krishna, how will Krishna accept from us? That's why we are always chanting Prabhupada's pranam mantra, pranati mantra. Because Prabhupada will offer the food to Krishna, because a pure devotee only can actually offer anything to Krishna. We cannot really offer. Through him we can offer. Why there is tulsi leaf on every item? It is just acceptance that Krishna, whatever I cook is nothing for you, because Radharani is cooking. And you know how Radharani cooks? She cooks so much variety for Krishna that she does not cook the same thing twice. Every time newer and newer and newer and newer things. You can't just imagine how Radharani cooks. So that's why Prabhupada said kitchen of the temple is the property of Radharani. So she is the best cook, and when she cooks, Krishna just leaves everything and eats her food. And she cooks such variety of things that nobody can even imagine. Compared with that, what will he will accept from us? But when the tulsi leaf is there, it is like the Lord cannot refuse now. So he is like, tulsi leaf is there, and then also offered through the devotee, pure devotee, Acharya. That's it. The Lord cannot say no anymore now. That's it. So that's why he accepts. So, and that's how we can be blessed with prasadam. So the Lord's worshipable form, Archa Vigraha, which is installed in temples by authorized acharyas who have realized the Lord in terms of mantra 7, is non-different from the original form of the Lord. So the temple forms are non-different from the original form of the Lord. The Lord's original form is that of Shri Krishna, and Shri Krishna expands himself into an unlimited number of forms, Anantarupam, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. Such as Baladev, Rama, Narsimha and Varaha. All of these forms are one and the same personality of Godhead. Similarly, the Archa Vigraha worshipped in temples is also an expanded form of the Lord. There is also an avatar, Archa avatar. It is also an avatar of the Lord. By worshipping the Archa Vigraha, one can at once approach the Lord, who accepts the service of a devotee by his omnipotent energy. The Archa Vigraha of the Lord descends at the request of the Acharyas. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended at the request of Advaita Acharya. So the Archa Vigraha of the Lord also descends at the request of the Acharyas. That means a pure devotee. In terms of Īśopaniṣad verses 6 and 7. Those who can see the Lord everywhere. That is only Uttamadhikari. So Uttamadhikari can call the Lord. So the Archa Vigraha of the Lord descends at the request of the Acharyas, the holy teachers, and works exactly in the original way of the Lord by virtue of the Lord's omnipotence. So the form of the deity, he works exactly as the Supreme Lord would do. But you may say, how come he is not moving? As long as we are stone, he will not move. So, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. So when the Sakshi Gopal, the Lord from Vrindavan, all the way he walked, the deity walked to Remuna, in Odisha. From Uttar Pradesh to Odisha, 2000 kilometers he walked. Sakshi Gopal deity from Vrindavan, he came. So the Lord can talk, the Lord can walk, but one has to be a pure devotee in order to do these things with the Lord. He will not reciprocate. Naham prakasha sarvasya. I will not manifest myself to everyone. But still, although the neophyte devotee, especially we are all neophytes, so to bless us, he accepts the stone form or the metal form or whatever these forms of deities, and then he accepts our services. Still, we get the benefit because the Lord has come there upon the invitation of the Acharya, Prabhupada, and he accepts our services under the guidance of Prabhupada. Just like, let's go somewhere and come back. We have seen this verse many times, we will again see. So 10 to 31. Swayam samuttirya sudustaram diman bhavarnavam bhema madabhra sauhridah bhavatpadambho ruhanavamatrate nidhaya yatah sadanugraho bhavan. O Lord, who resemble the shining sun, you are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotee, and therefore you are known as the desire tree Vancha Kalpataru. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nescience, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross, and because you are very merciful to your other devotees. Who are the other devotees? Who take shelter of this devotee who has actually crossed the ocean. of material existence. That means his disciples, like Prabhupada, he is already crossed. Actually, he is coming from there. So he has left behind here in this earth a method by which we can cross. And because you're merciful to other devotees, you accept this method to help them. So therefore, although we are not fully realized in the understanding of Krishna, he is still accepting our services because Prabhupada has left this method of deity worship. That is how we have to understand, and never take any pride. See, I have dressed like this or I have dressed like that, I have cooked this or cooked that. It's all good, but the Lord is only accepting because of the mercy of the Acharya, because of the mercy of Tulsi, whose leaves we are putting on top, and in that way He is accepting, and not because of our real qualification. Until yesterday we have been rascals, today I am a big devotee. That's how I have to think. It's because of the pure devotees that I am able to advance something, and I can have prasadam and I can be advancing. So in that humble mood, if we offer, the Lord will accept. So works exactly that. So the deity works exactly in the original way of the Lord by virtue of the Lord's omnipotence. Foolish people who have no knowledge of Sri Īśopaniṣad or any of the other Shruti mantras consider the Archa Vigraha, which is worshipped by pure devotees, to be made of material elements. This form may be seen as material by the imperfect eyes of foolish people or Kanishta Adhikaris, but such people do not know that the Lord, being omnipotent and omniscient, can transform matter into spirit and spirit into matter as He desires. Omnipotent means He can manipulate His potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. Just like the paper, He changed it into a spiritually inspiring book, the Bhagavad Gita. It is an ordinary paper. But by the touch of the Lord's words on the paper, it has become spiritually. He had transformed it into spiritual existence. That book is now spiritual. That's why we, even in the Sikh religion, Guru Granth Sahib, Granth Sahib. So the book of the Lord, the words of the Lord are non-different from the Lord. It becomes as spiritual as the Lord, although made of material elements. The holy name, although vibrated by material alphabets, it is spiritual because it's given by the Lord. And especially so because it is chanted in the parampara system. Ye mantras, Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishphala mataha. Especially when the mantra comes from the sampradaya, it is very potent. If the same mantra comes without sampradaya, not potent. So, even the mantra, if it is received from proper guru, yes, then it becomes potent. So, in this way, through the mercy of pure devotees, we are having access to the Lord in these various ways, in the form of His holy name, in the form of the deity, in the form of service. Service to Krishna is the greatest access. Anybody can serve the Lord from anywhere, in any condition of life. So, in this various ways, we are getting to access the Lord by hearing. Just by our ears, we are receiving the Lord. By chanting, we are receiving the Lord. By taking prasadam, we are receiving the Lord. Everything we are managing, we are allowed, we are given the access to the Lord with all our senses, even though our senses are material. But we have to understand that they are not material. All the prasadam or deity, they are not material. The Bhagavad Gita book, it is not material. Although it may appear material, it is spiritualized. So Krishna can turn material into matter into spirit, spirit into matter. Just like, for example, Ahalya. She was a spirit, but she turned into stone. But then by the touch of the Lord, again that stone became a woman. So He can change matter into spirit, spirit into matter as He likes. The same Maya will act as Yoga Maya for the devotee. Like when a person loses his business, he goes into depression and he goes take a beer or many bottles of beer. But Prabhupada's business was lost and he, Krishna, you have taken my last attachment. In this way, he became very happy. He made Prabhupada surrender even more. Of course, he is already pure devotee, but you see how the situation is shown there. So, is Yoga Maya is bringing him even more nearer to Krishna. But the same incident, if it happens to a materialist, he will go into more and more, tamogun, more and more far away from the Lord. So Mahamaya will take the person far away from Krishna, Yoga Maya will take the person nearer to Krishna. So the same incident, for a non-devotee, Maya, material energy works in that way, taking him away from the Lord. And for the devotee, Yoga Maya. The same Maya becomes Yoga Maya for him. And in this way, the energy is manipulated by the Lord, and different people experience differently. Therefore, for the pure devotee, he doesn't mind staying in this material world if that's what the Lord wants of him. He just wants service to Krishna. Because for him, there is no material world. There is no existence of the material world for the pure devotee. He doesn't say, that's why Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. He is completely happy even in this material world. His only distress is Paradukha Dukhi. He is a Paradukha Dukhi. He is always unhappy to see others unhappy. There's a nice song by Narsi Mehta, great devotee of Krishna. In that also, I think that was very popular with Gandhi also. What is that? Recently I came across a song, very beautiful song. So in that, he also mentions this point. The Vaishnava is always, Paradukha Dukhi. He's always unhappy for others' unhappiness. But personally, he's completely happy. He doesn't mind staying in this material world. Because he doesn't even know whether he's dying or whether he's, we have shown that verse before, right? Even the greatest misery that we can face, death, for him it is nothing. 11.13.36 Bhagavatam. Deham chanashvaram avasthitam utthitam va siddho na pashyati yatodhyagamat swarupam daivadapetam atha daiva vashadupetam vaso yatha parikritam madiramadandha. Just as a drunken man does not notice, yes, Vaishnava Janato. Yes, that is the song. Thank you, Virendra Prabhu. So that is the song, Vaishnava Janato. So that song is by Narsi Mehta, very beautiful song, and in that also is mentioned. So that Vaishnava is always Paradukha Dukhi. Yes, Speed Parai Janere. Yes, that is the line in Gujarati. So it's a very beautiful song. And so in this verse, just as a drunken man does not notice if he is wearing his coat or shirt. See, drunken man, he does not know whether he is wearing any dress or not, or whether he is naked. He doesn't know. Just like the Nalakovara and Manigriva, they were naked completely with women, and Narada Muni passed by, they did not even notice, and then Narada Muni completely cursed them. Oh, you used to want to stand naked, you have no decency, rascals. Sadhu is passing by, still you have no decency to stand with the clothes on. Go, stand as trees naked, thousands of years. So they became Yamarajuna trees. So just as a drunken man does not notice if he is wearing his coat or shirt, similarly, one who is perfect in self-realization and who has thus achieved his eternal identity does not notice whether the temporary body is sitting or standing. Indeed, if by God's will the body is finished, or if by God's will he obtains a new body, a self-realized soul does not notice, just as a drunken man does not notice the situation of his outward dress. So the pure devotee, it doesn't matter whether he is in the material world, because the miseries are superfluous to him. So just as when Prabhupada was, seemingly very sick and very, he had only bones, that's it. But still his mind, his intelligence was so sharp. So sharp. He was translating Bhagavatam. Usually you can't do any service. Leave me alone for 2 days. I'm having fever. Leave me alone. That's that's how we are. But Prabhupada, he was on this, so-called deathbed, but he was translating Bhagavatam. And he did not say, why your disciples, why you are asking me to translate, In fact, they were trying to see whether, they can relieve him of the service of translate. At least maybe for some time he can be having some rest. No, Prabhupada wanted to translate. Bring that recorder, bring the Bhagavatam. And, everybody was holding the recorder, one person, and one person reading from the book, and then Prabhupada giving his commentary, everything, while lying down on the bed. That much he was so clear. Some of his disciples actually, what kind of disciples I don't know, but they said Prabhupada became senile when he was old. See how offensive their statement was. This is one of the gurus in ISKCON. He said like this, that Prabhupada became senile. So he sometimes he did not know what he was saying exactly. How can you say like this about a spiritual master? He is so absorbed in Krishna, and until the very last moment he showed complete presence of mind, and even 9 days before he left, he changed his will to add some more points. So he was in pure consciousness and complete consciousness. Although his body was gone, it's gone. His body was completely taken away from him, but he was so fixed in his Krishna consciousness. Never, nothing could shake his Krishna consciousness. So that is spiritual existence. So even if he does not, obtains a new body, he does not notice. That's why he doesn't mind material existence. That's why pure devotees, they pray, Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare. No, doesn't matter. If you want me to remain here, if that's what you want, but I want your service. Without that, that will become hell for me. So that service we want. That's how the pure devotee prays. So the form may be seen as material by the imperfect eyes of foolish people or Kanishtadhikaris, but such people do not know that the Lord, being omnipotent and omniscient, can transform matter into spirit and spirit into matter as he desires. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.11 and 12, the Lord regrets the fallen condition of men with little knowledge who deride him because he descends like a man into this world. You know the verses? Let's go to those verses. 9.11. Very easy to remember the number of this verse because 9.11. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme Lord of all that be. So, in next verse, Mogha shamogha karmano mogha jnana vichetasah rakshasima shurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritah. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Whereas just the opposite is the next verse. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritimashritah bhajantyananya manaso jnatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavratah namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So this is devotees and those are non-devotees. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord regrets the fallen condition of men with little knowledge who deride him because he descends like a man into this world. So when he comes and takes on a seemingly human body, they think he is an ordinary human being and deride him. Such poorly informed persons do not know the omnipotence of the Lord. Thus, the Lord does not manifest himself in full to the mental speculators. He can be appreciated only in proportion to one's surrender to him. This is called Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham 4.11. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. What does that mean? So even though we want to be out of the law, we can't really be. We will be under the most stringent law of this material world. Like the so-called outlaw who goes under the criminal law, from the civil law, he plunges into the criminal law. So that control is even harder and even more painful than in civil law. Civil law, there is at least freedom. There is no freedom. In both cases, he is under the control of the government. So similarly, our independence, the independence that we have, is not to be independent of Krishna. We cannot be at all independent of Krishna, but we can choose to be under either the Yogamaya or Mahamaya of Krishna. So if you are under the spiritual nature, Antaranga Shakti or Yogamaya, then we will be protected and we will be in the spiritual world. If not, then if we choose to go against him, misuse of our independence, then we will be under the criminal law, which is Mahamaya. But under both ways, we are under the control of Krishna. We are all dancing to his tunes. Either we are dancing on the hot plate, or we are dancing to the beautiful sound of Krishna's flute. Like in the spiritual world, everybody dances to Krishna's flute. Here also, but that flute sound is quite painful here. Because here it's that hot plate that we have discussed yesterday. If you are dancing on a hot plate, then that is also a dance. That's also a dance. But that's painful dance, not pleasurable dance. Raslila is pleasurable dance. Another verse is there in the Brahma Samhita, I think 71st verse, no 61st verse. Yeah. Dharmananyan parityajya mamekam bhaja vishwasan yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. First, then the next verse goes, Kurvan nirantaram karma loko yamanuvartate tenaiva karmana dhyayan mam param bhakti michhati. Abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. The realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. So, yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. So, our perfection, our siddhi will be according to our shraddha in the process, or our faith. Faith, shraddha means faith. All right. He can be appreciated only in proportion to one's surrender to him. The fallen condition of the living entities is due entirely to forgetfulness of their relationship with God. In this mantra, as well as in many other Vedic mantras, it is clearly stated that the Lord has been supplying goods to the living entities from time immemorial. This is the logistics of the Lord. Yatha tathyato arthan vedada chhasvatibhya samabhya. So the logistics of the Lord is so perfect. He has been supplying our goods. Whatever we want to enjoy, He has been supplying us. Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. That is Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Katha Upanishad. So I think also Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. So there also it is the same thing is said, that He is maintaining everyone else and providing them whatever necessities or goods they need for their sustenance. Light, air, everything. Our body, our mind, our intelligence, everything. Where were we? Yeah. A living being desires something and the Lord supplies the object of that desire in proportion to one's qualification. Not that He will give whatever we ask. According to, He fulfills our desires according to what we deserve. So not just our desire. Everybody's desires are sky high, but we only get what we deserve, but still according to the desire. So, if suppose, like an example I'll give you, if one wants to enjoy with beautiful women, but then on the other hand he is eating anything and everything, so next life he will get to enjoy beautiful females, and also he will be allowed to eat anything and everything until the point of stool also in the body of a pig. So a pig has many females. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So for the pig, the female pig is very beautiful. Although, it's not beautiful, but a female pig is very beautiful for the male pig. So for him, that is a beautiful woman. So he gets what he wanted, but then according to what he deserves, because he was eating stool, anything and everything, so he will get a body like that suitably. So our desires are fulfilled according to what we deserve. Just like if you want a shirt, that's a desire, but you can only buy a shirt according to your financial capacity. So you can fulfill your desire according to what you have, according to what you can afford. So similarly, so there are different shirts, $5,000 shirt or $5 shirt. So similarly, so just as the money is the currency, what we can afford, but here the karma is the currency. So according to our karma, we can afford only if I can afford only a pig's body, then I have to fulfill my desires in that status. So, a living being desires something and the Lord supplies the object of that desire in proportion to one's qualification. If a man wants to be a high court judge, he must acquire not only the necessary qualifications but also the consent of the authority who can award the title of high court judge. The qualifications in themselves are insufficient for one to occupy the post. It must be awarded by some superior authority. Yes, this is another thing. Karma Mimamsa philosophy, if you know, Shaddarshan, there are 6 types of philosophies that are different munis have come up with their own philosophies, different sages. So the Karma Mimamsa philosophy, I think it's by Jaimini Rishi, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So Karma Mimamsa philosophy means their philosophy is that as you act, the Lord is duty bound to give you a body accordingly. So you don't need to worship Him, you just do good in this world. So if you do pious activities, He is bound to give you a good body, and if you do sinfully, He is bound to do. So it mainly depends on our work, not depends on Him. He's just obliged by our work. So our work is what the real mover of things, not His sanction or something. He has to give us. If we do good work, He has to give us a good body. So that's how the Karma Mimamsa. So that's why they are a sort of atheism, Karma Mimamsa. So the karma is the main thing. So your good and bad deeds are the real deal. So therefore they say man is the architect of his own destiny. To an extent only. But they think that is all in all. And the Lord is just a supplier. So it's not exactly like that. Sanction also has to be there. Qualification is there and sanction of the super soul. Without His sanction, we cannot have anything. And this is also actually a very good thing for our Ritvik philosophy now, for our Ritvik system. Sometimes they say, so you mean to say there is no pure devotees, and Prabhupada cannot make him even a single pure devotee. The question is not about the qualification of pure devotee, but also the authorization of Prabhupada. Even if there are millions of pure devotees, that doesn't negate the system set up by Prabhupada, the Ritvik system, where the authorization also has to be there. The qualifications in themselves are insufficient for one to occupy the post. It must be awarded by some superior authority. So he has to be authorized by his guru. The qualifications themselves are not any post. Even Brahma's post or even any demigod's post, they get those posts by the mercy. What is that? Yastvindra gopa mathavendra mahosva karma bandhanurupa phalabhajana matanoti karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So even the Indra has been given his position by the order of Govinda. He awards. So the sanction of the Supreme Lord has to be there for one to occupy the post. Qualification by itself is not necessary. Prabhupada gave another example. Like, what was that? The electric bulb, I think, was done by Benjamin Franklin. I don't know. Who invented the electric bulb? Please put in the comments. I'm very bad at this. So, actually Prabhupada said, there was a Dr. Bose, an Indian, who was the actual one who Thomas Edison. Thank you, Prithviraj Prabhu. So, Thomas Edison. So, Thomas Edison happened to be the inventor of the light bulb. But actually, Prabhupada said that Thomas Edison was not the real one. Dr. Bose was an Indian scientist with him. He was the one who actually found it. But then Thomas Edison quickly took that thing and presented it to the scientific community, and then he became known as the inventor of the bulb. So, although the qualification was there from Dr. Bose, but then the credit went to Thomas Edison, and now even today everybody knows Thomas Edison as the inventor of the light bulb. So, qualification and sanction. For some reason, Dr. Bose was qualified, but for another reason, Thomas Edison was given the credit. he was given that post of inventor of a light bulb. So the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So they say hard work is the key to success. No, but if the sanction of the Lord is not there, even if we work hard, nothing will happen. So the sanction of the Lord is the prime mover of things. It's not simply our karma alone, our activity. So the past karma. Okay, just to end that point, the past karma of of Dr. Bose gave him the good intelligence to find the electric bulb, to invent that. But some past karma of Thomas Edison brought him that fame to be known as the inventor of the light bulb. So in that way, different karmas are acting differently. So the actions don't necessarily affect the result. There is much going on that doesn't meet the eye. There is more to it than meets the eye. So that is the sanction of the Supreme Lord, who is invisible to everyone. He is working all these things, different karmas of different living beings, how they are coming to manifest and how everybody is enjoying or suffering according to their past activities. This is to be understood. The hand behind everything, all these things. How the Supreme Lord is governing all these things. Sometimes it appears that it's injustice that the person who did it did not get the credit. Actually, I think somebody shared with me a video. I think there was one talent show. There was one man who was put into prison for 37 years and he just came out last year for a crime he never committed. In 1983, when he was 22 years old, he was walking on the street and police cars just came in front of him. Police, all 2-3 cars, and then the police all came out, handcuffed him, put him in jail, and he was in the jail for 37 years, and for a crime apparently that he raped a woman quite badly. So any rape is bad. So for rape he was sent to prison for 37 years, but he was completely innocent. He tried to plead himself, no, I never did anything, I don't even know what you're talking about. But because why he was caught? Because random photographs were shown to that woman, and when a man comes and does everything and all these things, sometimes memory is not so good. So the man and the woman, so 3 different, or I think many different random photographs were shown of who can be the probable criminal, and she always pointed to this man 3 times, more than 3 times. So in everything she pointed to, she saw everybody, and when she saw this face, she pointed there, and again another, again the same person. So because he was pointed at, and that's how in 1983 he was problematic identification. So imperfect senses of that lady, she did not know who he was. So this man was convicted of, he was put behind bars, and he was put in the worst jail, I think some jail is there, whatever. So 37 years, but there was this Innocence Project, some organization, who they work for these things that, there are, yes, criminals are sent to jail, but then there are people who are innocent, who are punished for no reason, they are also put in jail. And we need to get them out. So actually they worked, and then they finally got the fingerprints or some, I don't know how. Of course they will store the fingerprints, but because of AI technology, they actually mapped those fingerprints to another person who was a serial rapist. In 2019, they realized that 37 years later, and he was released 36 years later. And for 36 years, this man was in the prison for no fault of his, apparently. But how come how is this injustice happening? He must be suffering from some punishment of his previous life, for which he had to be put in prison. And in this life he is put. So we can't really understand things, just from our imperfect vision. I was actually having a chat with another lady. So we were talking about this topic of rape. So how karma acts and how these persons who do this rape, they will be punished, and especially that, I think, that Nirbhaya case, that Delhi gang rape case. So they were hanged to death. So this conversation happened before they were hanged to death, but then they will definitely get their dues. I was telling that. So whoever rapes, they will have to go through the same pain that they have caused to others. And she, being a woman, of course, so she was against, any sane man or woman, they will be against rape. That's very terrible thing to do. But so she was, and especially being a woman, she was, yes, he definitely deserves it. He should also suffer the same pain as that woman who went through. But then I asked her this question. Okay, now you consider, why did the woman go through that? What did she do? It's very controversial. People don't like these things. Because people don't understand the whole law of karma. And duly they were punished. Those people definitely deserved what they got, or even they may even deserve more than what they got. Maybe they will go to hell and even suffer more. Krishna's laws will take care of that. But then, why did that woman go through that? So these people who did that to her will have to face the same pain, right? That means if that lady faced that pain, she must have done that before in the previous life. So you see how complicated it gets, the law of karma, and how the Lord awards punishments or rewards, and sometimes they seem like injustice, but actually there is no such thing as injustice. There is justice, but it doesn't mean that a rapist can go scot-free. See, this is how the Lord arranges. Somebody had to be killed, somebody wants to kill. So he put them together, and both will, this person will get his fruit of his reaction, and this person will sow the seed of his sin. And this person is experiencing the fruit of that sowing of the sin. As you sow, so shall you reap. So as a person is experiencing the fruit of the seed that he has sown, another person is sowing his seed now. So in this way, he arranges who to do what. It's not that this person, because this person deserved to get this, so this person, by doing this, he's absolved of the sin. No, he is going to get. So the Lord does not personally come and kill that person, but he arranges all these different karmas. How complicated the arrangement is. You see, if you start to think about it, it's impossible to arrange this by even Brahma or Shiva. Nobody can arrange these things. It is how the Lord is arranging all this karma, how Yamaraj is put into this system where he has to award different punishments, all these things, the karma. Karmana daivanetrena jantur dehopapattaye, how in which family they take birth, in which association they go, and all these things are so minutely, they are arranged by the Lord. So just try to understand how the Lord's actions are. So the qualifications in themselves are insufficient for one to occupy the post. It must be awarded by some superior authority. Similarly, the Lord awards enjoyment to living entities in proportion to their qualifications, but good qualifications in themselves are not sufficient to enable one to receive awards. The mercy of the Lord is also required. So we have understood that. Now, ordinarily, the living being does not know what to ask from the Lord, nor which post to seek. When the living being comes to know his constitutional position, however, he asks to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord in order to render transcendental loving service unto him. So this is exemplified by Dhruva Maharaj. This class is going to go long, huh? I think where? Sthanabhilashi tapasi sthitoham Sthanabhilashi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam Kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. When he was being blessed by the Supreme Lord. So, Dhruva Maharaj in the beginning, he did not know what to ask, what post to ask. He wanted to have the post of greater than Brahma. So, when we do not know our constitutional position, then we ask the Lord of so many things which are actually very foolish. So, he said, Dhruva Maharaj said, "Oh my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now I have gotten you who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly persons and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you. So, you see how ordinarily the living being does not know what to ask from the Lord, nor which post to seek, just like Dhruva Maharaj. When the living being comes to know his constitutional position, however, he asks to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord in order to render transcendental loving service unto him. Unfortunately, the living beings, under the influence of material nature, ask for many other things, and they are described in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41 as having divided or splayed intelligence. They are not focused. They want this and that, so many things they want. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandanam bahushakhahi anantascha buddhaya avyavasayinam. For those who are irresolute in devotional service, they have so many desires that they want to fulfill in this material world. So they don't know what to ask the Lord, what not to ask. So that is the nature of materialists. Spiritual intelligence is one, but mundane intelligence is diverse. Spiritual intelligence means I just want to serve Krishna. That is the single most desire. Single desire. Anyabhilashita sunyam. Anyabhilashita sunyam. All other desires zero. Jnana karmadi anavritam. Anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. Just want to favorably serve Krishna. That is bhakti. Every other desire, shunyam, zero. In Srimad Bhagavatam, so this is spiritual intelligence is one is ekeha kurunandana. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurun. Eka means one, single pointed attention, the Lord only. Transcendental loving service to the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.30 and 31, it is stated that those who are captivated by the temporary beauties of the external energy forget the real aim of life, which is to go back to Godhead. Forgetting this, one tries to adjust things by various plans and programs. But this is like chewing what has already been chewed. So when you chew something, for example, sugarcane, you chew something, you chew the sugarcane, nice sweet taste. After you have already chewed it, now if you chew again, what are you going to get out of it? You can't enjoy it. And you chew and chew and chew the same thing, what are you going to get out of it? Nothing. So there is no pleasure in this material world. One tries to extract some pleasure by chewing the chewed in different ways. But actually, he's trying the same thing in various ways. Like Prabhupada said, the old man, he wants to go to the naked dancing club and wants to see the naked woman. He wants to have sex in so many different ways by enjoying with the woman. Then when he cannot enjoy, when he's old, he cannot perform. Then he wants to see a naked woman and enjoy in that way. At least by seeing, he will try to satisfy himself. So this way, one tries to do the same thing over and over again in different ways. This is called chewing the chewed. Punah punaschar vitacharvananam. This is the exact Sanskrit word by Prahlad Maharaj. That is in the 7.5.31 that is on the mention here. Now, nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that He allows the forgetful living entity to continue in this way without intelligence. So if somebody wants to go in foolish way, the Lord allows him to do so. What is that? Nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that He allows the forgetful living entity to continue in this way without interference. Sorry, not intelligence, interference, sorry. He doesn't interfere. Oh, don't do like this, stop, No, because that person doesn't want to hear from the Lord. So, okay, you go ahead, until the point that you cannot understand that something is really wrong here. That's when you will turn back to me. I will wait for that. Until then, I will give you, okay, you want this, okay, fine, at your own risk, accept it. So the Lord gives. So that is why the Lord has been providing for us, even though we have been against Him, He has been providing whatever we wanted according to what we deserved. Nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that He allows the forgetful living entity to continue in this way without interference. Thus, this mantra of Sri Īśopaniṣad uses the very appropriate word yatha tathyataha, indicating that the Lord rewards the living entities just in pursuance of their desires. It is not according to His desire. Like in some religions, I see they preach like this, that why some person is mentally retarded and why some person is poor and why some person is rich. They say this is the Lord's test. The Lord is more favorable to the poor one, and So he has an added, he has an advantage. He has a, what is it called? Unfair advantage, or whatever you may call it. So this is the Lord's test. They say, no, this is completely wrong. Yatha tathyatah, he is fulfilling their desires and according to what they deserve. See? So it's not the Lord's test or what? It is just we, because otherwise they have no explanation. It is a Lord's test. But by saying that, they are saying that the Lord is partial and the Lord is foolish, that he is not equal to everyone, or they're actually trying to make the Lord a fool, present the Lord as a fool. But no, he is completely equal. A judge, he is not partial to one criminal or the other. No, he is giving 6 months jail and he is giving 37 years jail that this person is. He is not. He is not. What is that? He doesn't love somebody or hate somebody. The judge just impartially executes the law. So similarly, the Supreme Lord also, the law is there. He has created the law, and as per the law, we get our dues. So it is never that the Lord is according to his desire, according to our desires. If a living being wants to go to hell, the Lord allows him to do so without interference. And if he wants to go back home, back to Godhead, the Lord helps him. So as we want, yadrishi shraddha, siddhir bhavati tadrishi. And ye yathamam prapadyanti tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. God is described here as Paribhu, the greatest of all. No one is greater than or equal to him. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natat samaschabhyadhikascha drishyate. And in Bhagavad Gita 7.7 he says, Mattah parataram nanyat. There is nobody equal to or above me. Everybody is below me. Ekalaishwar Krishna are sabhratya. Jaiche jare jaiche nachai she taiche kare nritya. As he wants us to dance, we dance. Sometimes on the hot plate, sometimes because of the flute he plays. Then no one is greater than or equal to him. Other living beings are described here as beggars who ask goods from the Lord. We are all beggars. The Lord supplies the things the living entities desire. If the entities were equal to the Lord in potency, if they were omnipotent and omniscient, there would be no question of their begging from the Lord, even for so-called liberation. No. We don't need to be beggars, right? If we are as good as the Lord, as the Mayavadis claim, then why are we begging from the Lord? Real liberation means going back to Godhead. Liberation as conceived of by an impersonalist is a myth, and begging for sense gratification has to continue eternally unless the beggar comes to his spiritual senses and realizes his constitutional position. So we have to beg the Lord for the devotional service. Only the Supreme Lord is self-sufficient. This is what is self-sufficient? Swayambhu, Paribhu, Swayambhu. So that Swayambhu word is explained here. Only the Supreme Lord is self-sufficient. When Lord Krishna appeared on earth 5,000 years ago, he displayed his full manifestation as the personality of Godhead through his various activities. In his childhood, he killed many powerful demons such as Aghasura, Bakasura and Shakatasura, and there was no question of his having acquired such power through any extraneous endeavor. He lifted Govardhan hill without ever practicing weightlifting. Krishna did not go to gym. Oh, Indra is going to, Indra is sending cloud. I'll practice some gym, so that I will lift the Govardhan. How Prabhupada said. And how Krishna could suck the life air out of Putana. Only he was such a small child. He was just sucking the milk, sucking the breast of his mother. Such a small child. And he killed Putana, such a big demon. How? How did he know how to suck her life out? He doesn't know. An ordinary child wouldn't know. But how did Krishna know? That means he, like the Mayavadis say, now you are in Maya, but when you get liberated, then you become as good as God. So now you must practice penance and austerity and tapasya and all that, so you get liberated and then you become as good as the Lord. So, but Krishna did not do any tapasya and penance, but how he became as good as the Lord? That is the Lord. He does not have to become God. God is God whether he is a baby or whether he is full-blown youth. He is always God. Even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was God. As a baby in the lap of his mother, he was also God. He never acquired the power to become God. No, he always had. That is called self-sufficient, Swarat, Swayambhu. He did not practice any weightlifting. Oh, I have a big championship that I have to do, I have to practice. Weightlifters, they do that. But Krishna doesn't need to do that. Not only he is called Giridhari, he is called Vishwambhar. Vishwambhar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's another name is Vishwambhar. Vishwambhar means he is holding the entire universe. In fact, millions of universes. So, where were we? Yeah. He lifted Govardhan hill without ever practicing weightlifting. He danced with the gopis without social restriction and without reproach. Nobody could stop him. Nobody could chastise him. Hey, why? How can you, And he did not get any sin from dancing with other people's so-called wives. He did not get any sin. Nothing. So that is Krishna. Unrestricted. That's why Krishna is Sampurna Bhagavan. He did not even restrict himself anyway. Of course, he showed example also. Many examples he showed how to behave. But also he did things which ordinarily cannot be done. But he can do without any restriction. Like dancing here with the gopis. He did. Sampurna Bhagavan. Whereas even Ramachandra also restricted himself to one wife to show the path of ideal human being. Whereas Krishna, he did that as an ideal human being. At the same time, he also showed that he is completely above all the rules and regulations. He can do anything and still not get contaminated by sin. Apapa vidham. Although the gopis approached him with a paramour's feeling of love, the relationship between the gopis and Lord Krishna was worshipped even by Lord Chaitanya, who was a strict sannyasi and rigid follower of disciplinary regulations. Disciplinary regulations. To confirm that the Lord is always pure and uncontaminated, Sri Īśopaniṣad describes him as Shuddham, antiseptic, and Apapavidham, prophylactic. He is antiseptic in the sense that even an impure thing can become purified just by touching him. Just like Prabhupada gave the example, if we go to a place where there is stool and urine, we may get contaminated and we may get sick. But the Lord can, for example, the sunlight. The sunlight can evaporate urine and still be uncontaminated. So it can purify that place where it was all dirty and still remain uncontaminated, untouched. But when we try to do that, we may get sick. So whoever comes to chant his even holy name becomes purified. Even the most sinner, the worst sinner. What is that? That all the sins that you can possibly commit and that you have already committed, both will be. Let's see. We have great sinners like Mrigari, the hunter, or the sage Valmiki. He was a highway robber and big criminal. And similarly, there are so many examples. And even Gajendra, who was an elephant, animal completely, how sinful animal birth means, less than even human. And so many, like Ajamil, you say Ajamil. So many sinful people have become purified by chanting holy name. Not that they were so powerful that by the chanting of Krishna's holy name, they made Krishna sinful. No, the sinners, no, they cannot touch. See, Nam no hi avde shakti. I'll just read the English translations because we are actually very late already. Simply by chanting one's holy name of Hari, a sinful man can counteract reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. And next one, you see, if one chants the holy name of the Lord even in a helpless condition or without desiring to do so, all the reactions of his sinful life depart, just as when a lion roars, all the small animals flee in fear. Then here, Sakriducharitam yena haririti aksharadvayam baddha parikarastena mokshaya gamanam prati. By once chanting the holy name of the Lord, which consists of the two syllables Hari, one guarantees his path to liberation. This is not actually the one. What is the one? Oh yeah, the first one actually. By chanting one name, Hari, he can he can counteract the reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. I did not pay attention there. So you see, more sins than one can. The holy name can, completely purify all the souls of the infinite universes. That much it can, and still be completely uncontaminated. That is the Lord. Shuddham Apa. That is just his name only. Of course, the name and him, there is no difference. Just by chanting his name, there is so much. So that is the nature of the Lord, completely pure. Purnam Shuddham Nitya Muktam Abhinnatvan Navanamino. He is antiseptic in the sense that even an impure thing can become purified just by touching him. The word prophylactic refers to the power of his association. As mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 and 31, a devotee may appear to be a Sudurachara, not well behaved in the beginning, but he should be accepted as pure because he is on the right path. This is due to the prophylactic nature of the Lord's association. So that's the purifying nature of the Lord's association. That's why even a sadhu, sadhureva samantavya, apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya. So if we see some mistake in a devotee, of course we are not talking about gurus. Gurus, they should be on the level of Krishna, they should have no mistake. We're talking about advancing devotees. They may have many frailties, we all have so many weaknesses we have to, overcome. So in the process of devotional service, when there are some defects seen in a devotee, even if he may commit abominably something, but still he should be considered sadhu. And if we don't consider him a sadhu, then we are committing an offense to the Lord, because we are not accepting his prophylactic nature. That just by chanting, he is on the right path, he is going to get purified. So he is not pure yet, yes, but he is on the right path which can purify him. So that's why Ajamil, although he was so much sin, but chanting Hari name or holy name, then he always, the Yamadutas could not take him. Vishnuduta said, no, whatever he has done, he has completely counteracted by this chanting. That is a prophylactic. Because the Yamadutas were not sufficiently educated in the power of the holy name, then Yamaraj instructed them in the power of the holy name. So this is the thing. The Lord is also apapavidham because sin cannot touch him. Even if he acts in a way that appears to be sinful, such actions are all good, for there is no question of his being affected by sin. Because in all circumstances he is Shuddham, most purified. He is often compared to the sun. The sun extracts moisture from many untouchable places on the earth, yet it remains pure. In fact, it purifies obnoxious things by virtue of its sterilizing powers. If the sun, which is a material object, is so powerful, then we can hardly begin to imagine the purifying strength of the all-powerful Lord. Alright, that's the end of the session. Wow, now questions. I don't know how this is going to go. I think I cannot give very elaborate answers to many. I think I will see what we can do now in a short span of time. Oh, we have so many questions. Okay, let's try to do as quickly as possible, and I will try not to go into detail. So I hope you will understand that. So Virendra Prabhu, question. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a sound representation of Krishna, which is non-different from Lord. The Supreme Lord has invested all his energies in his holy names. How do devotees benefit, become purified, and get transferred to the spiritual world by the subtle chanting of holy names? So again, Yadrashi Shraddha Siddhir Bhavati Tadrashi. So as much as we have faith in the holy name, that much we will advance. How much we are attentive, how much we are respectful to the holy name, that much we will advance. So that's why Bahujanma, if we commit 10 offenses against the chanting of holy name, even we chant for millions of years, it will not work. But if once if we chant offenselessly like Ajamil did, all perfection. So it depends on how much we surrender to the holy name. Virendra Prabhu, next question. I'm sorry for the short answers because we have to try to finish this before 10:30. Virendra Prabhu, a devotee asks only for devotional service birth after birth. He doesn't desire mukti. Then is it the Supreme Lord who decides whether to accept devotee's service in Shanta, Dāsa, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya in spiritual world? Well, everybody already has their relationship with the Lord, which is just covered now. We all already have our set relationship with the Lord in the spiritual world. Now it is covered. When one is pure, it will automatically reveal itself. Yes, the Lord decided everything. So he decided everything. He already decided. It's just that it is covered now. It's not that he will choose what to give us then, when we will go there and let's see what we can do. No, it's already there. Sri, Question. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me if I am committing any offense by asking the question, dear Prabhu. It was stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was in a conjugal loving mood, Madhurya Ras, towards Krishna. And I have heard many of our acharyas in different and unique moods with the Lord. However, what was the mood of Srila Prabhupada towards the Lord? Sorry, I am just curious. Please forgive this offensive soul. Okay. I could have saved some time if you had not mentioned the words humble, useless soul, and all. Just ask the question. Never mind. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was in conjugal love. What mood is Prabhupada's mood? He did not reveal. We don't speculate. But he is the most dearmost servitor of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because of which he, it is said that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is one of the manjaris in the spiritual world, assistant gopis. But when you ask Prabhupada what his experience of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, he described him as a Vaikuntha man. Vaikuntha man. So, he did not reveal too many things, because we sometimes, we get attracted to unnecessary things which don't need our attention. What is Prabhupada doing in the spiritual world? He must be doing the greatest service. You see what he is doing here. So we should accept him as what he has revealed to us, and that's it. So we cannot speculate. So he must be a great, devotee in the spiritual world. Of course, he is a great devotee, and in the Madhurya Ras, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur said all the rasas have crossed the borders of India, and he said, I think this was in the Navadvip Bhav Taranga or something. He said the dāsa ras has crossed the borders of India and manifested itself in the body of Moses, and Sakhya ras was manifested in Muhammad, and Vatsalya ras was manifested in Jesus, but only Madhurya ras hasn't gotten beyond the borders of India. And then he predicted that soon there will be a personality who will travel freely around the world and give this Madhurya ras everywhere, this conjugal love. So in that way, you can understand where is Prabhupada. So these are just hints, but let us not speculate anything. Prabhupada is definitely the most confidential inner circle of Krishna's servants, and that's what we need to know. Alright, next. Virendra Prabhu, is the spiritual world made up of antimatter? Yes. And definition of antimatter of the scientists is different. Their definition of antimatter, according to Easy Journey to Other Planets book, you are referring to that, yeah. So the scientists, they refer to antimatter as the protons and neutrons and electrons, they move, their definition, the scientist definition. The electrons, they spin in this direction, in a clockwise direction for example, and in antimatter, they move in the counterclockwise direction. So this is the definition of antimatter. And then say, when matter and antimatter collide, there will be a complete destruction of everything, and everything becomes zero. This is their defective understanding of antimatter. But Prabhupada just took that word antimatter and then presented a whole different description of antimatter. Antimatter means it has to have no characteristics of matter. Matter is perishable, the antimatter should be imperishable. So in that way, Prabhupada defined antimatter as spirit, soul. But in the scientists, they were actually mentioning another thing about antimatter, about another form of matter only. That is their understanding of antimatter. Okay. I can really feel the Nirjala Ekadasi, the throat becoming parched and even painful sometimes. Okay. Let's go a few more questions. Prem Bikash Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, how come Radharani married by somebody? It's not actually married by somebody. Her husband name is Abhimanyu, but not the Abhimanyu of Arjuna's son. But that is again to bring out that Parakiya Bhava. It is not that Radha Krishna nahi anya. There is no difference between Radha and Krishna. But it appears that she has because to show the Parakiya Bhava. Actually everybody, Krishna is the husband of everybody. We are all Prakriti, female. He is the only male. He is the husband of all of us. But to bring out that mood of Parakiya, that mood where a woman has another lover than the husband, then she will be so careful in the household duties. At the same time, she is thinking of that other man all the time. So that attachment is even more than a wife has for her husband. And there is no contract there. And a wife has a security that, okay, this is my husband, he will never leave me. But in Radharani's case, there was no contract. And Krishna can leave any time, he can have a relationship with any other woman, and he can never come back before her as he likes. But still to love Krishna, despite no binding factor, that unconditional love, parakya bhava, to manifest that in this material world, therefore there is this manifestation of like seeming husband for Radharani and all that. Then Virendra Prabhu again, the spirit soul encased in the material bodies are Sachidananda. However, after attaining spiritual world, the soul revives and is reinstated in his original Sachidananda spiritual body. Yes. Next question, Virendra Prabhu. If spiritual quotient is higher than intelligent quotient and emotional quotient, if SQ is higher than IQ and EQ, is it good? Yeah, that's all that matters actually. And the good thing is, once you have SQ, you will automatically be given IQ and EQ, because tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna says, I will give the IQ to those who have SQ. I will give the intelligence to those who are devoted to me in devotion. So once you have SQ, then everything else that is necessary to serve the Lord you will get. Virendra Prabhu, next question. Does the Supreme Lord see the sincere efforts of devotee in serving him in devotional service? Bhavagrahi Janardana. So yes. But it has to be sincere. If it's not sincere, he will also see that. That we are not sincere. And if we commit offenses like that, then if he thinks that, oh, this person, if he is in the association of devotees, he is just committing more offenses, then he will remove him from the association of devotees. That also is there. So that he doesn't commit even more offenses. So better he stay away from devotees. And when he is ready again, then let's see, then maybe in this life or next life or whenever he is ready, he can again come back in the association of devotees. So we have to be very careful that we have to be absolutely sincere, because we cannot cheat the Lord. The Lord is in our heart and he knows every single thought, every single fleeting thought that happens in our mind. Virendra Prabhu, does the spiritual paintings of Krishna pastimes in Srila Prabhupada's movement are gateway or glimpse to spiritual world? Yeah, they are windows to the spiritual world, as Prabhupada said. Vijay Sharma Prabhu, is it necessary to do the installation ceremony for Gaurnita and Srila Prabhupada Murti in householder's house? Well, as long as you chant, that is already the installation. Of course you must chant Namo Vishnupada. Without the Acharya, come on. I mean, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I will only eat. Oops. Okay, the recording stopped. So, we will continue with our class. I thought the streaming itself stopped. So, the recording of it stopped. So, the streaming is still going on. So, okay. Where were we? Okay, Vijay Sharma Prabhu. Is it necessary to do the installation ceremony? So, yeah. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I will only eat in the Lakshapati's house. And whoever chants 1 lakh names, that means 100,000 names every day, that means it corresponds to 64 rounds every day, I will only eat in their house, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So, in that way, even we are not even qualified to invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? But because again, Srila Prabhupada is there, we have the access to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy through Srila Prabhupada. So again, whatever we are doing, we have to chant the names of the Guru, especially Srila Prabhupada. And yes, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, Krishna's mercy, everything is open. Free flow, the dam is open and we get overflooded with Krishna Prema. So, it is best to do the Gaurnita, the installation ceremony, but for Gaurnita especially, you just chant and start worshipping. Just chanting itself is installation for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, in the temple we did the whole ceremony. In the temple we have to do everything. See, the whole thing is, what is that? There is a threshold. But then, if you can do more, you should always do more. What is the minimum, least common, least viable thing? That, like Krishna said in the 9th chapter, 26th verse, Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Just give me a leaf, flower, fruit or water, I will accept. That doesn't mean we should only now just give leaf, flower, fruit and water and nothing else. No. That doesn't mean we should not cook any nice preparations to the Lord. No. That is the baseline, so that it is accessible to everyone. Even the poorest man, he does not have anything, he can still offer a leaf, tulsi leaf, or a flower or a fruit. So Krishna is making himself accessible to even the most poorest man, but it does not mean that we should stay at the threshold, and especially when there is opportunity to do more grander way, we should do in the most grandest way possible for the Lord. So in the temple we do everything in a very grand way. But in house it can be simple, but still we have to do, that is there. Ajanya Mataji, in South Indian temples using any metal or stone for making idols? Why marble used for making idols in Hare Krishna temples? It doesn't matter, as long as stone or iron. We have seen the 8 kinds of deities, it doesn't really matter. So the Lord will accept that form if he is invited by the Acharyas. Alright. Lord Chaitanya about Jagannath Prasadam being spiritual. Oh yes. CC Antya, we will go there. Just 6-7 verses, we will just read them straight. So the Lord is saying, Antya what? Antya what chapter? 106 to 112, but what chapter? There is no mention of the chapter here, so I can't really go there. I don't want to search for it now. Okay, if you can let me know in the comments what is the chapter number, that will be good. Again, then Ajanya Mataji, what is the role of conscience in understanding the philosophy? Well, all these are conscience again comes from the super soul. So the the super soul, Paramatma gives us the necessary intelligence if we are sincere. Tesham satata yuktanam. So conscience and philosophy, everything, it is directed by the Lord. So if we are sincere, and of course, in sometimes our consciousness or our conscience says something, and we are not. Sometimes it may be contradicting what Shastra says. So our mind says, our conscience says something, and then philosophy is something else. Then how do we know whether to follow our conscience or philosophy? That's when we have to check with the devotees. Because our mind, sometimes we do not know whether Maya is dictating us or the Paramatma is dictating us. That's why we have to take from Sadhu Shastra Guru to confirm our thing. And if it is something else, then then we have to reject that idea and then follow what the Shastra says. If it's confirmed by the devotees, yes, this is correct. Then if they show Shastric references, okay, then I am on the right path, okay, fine. So in the beginning we do not know whether which way we are, where our mind, we tend to listen to our mind, and we tend to accept mind's dictations as more important than what Shastra says, or our feelings, what we resonate with and all this. We try to judge everything based on those things, but that's not the way you should do it. We should always reject first whatever the mind says. Confirm, get the opinion of Sadhu Shastra Guru. If whatever they say we have to accept. If it coincides with our minds, whatever it was, well and good. Still don't give any importance to the mind. Because next time, last time it coincided with Sadhu Shastra Guru, so this time also it should be, right? Because my mind is already, I think, pure already. So I think, Krishna is already speaking through my mind, because it already coincided once, but so now it also must be coinciding. No, that is rubbish. So every single time we have to beat the mind and say, no, whatever it is, first reject and get the opinion of Sadhu Shastra Guru. If it is coinciding, well and good. Not coinciding, reject that opinion. Always treat the mind as enemy rather than friend. Then we can control the mind eventually. That's the way to go about it. Okay, chapter 16 it seems. Okay, good, thank you. CC, Antya, chapter 16, verses, okay, index, we go to index. And verses 106 through 112. Okay, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave shares of the prasadam. Who Govinda brought the prasadam, 105. Following the indications of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda brought the prasadam of Lord Jagannath. The Lord sent some to Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati. Next, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave shares of the prasadam to Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Swarup Damodar Goswami and all the other devotees. As they tasted the uncommon sweetness and fragrance of the prasadam, everyone's mind was struck with wonder. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, these ingredients such as sugar, camphor, black pepper, cardamom, cloves, butter, spices and licorice are all material. Everyone has tasted these material substances before. I think some people might be salivating by now because of the Nirjala Ekadasi, by seeing all these names of different food items. But please hold on until tomorrow morning. So he said all these substances we have already tasted before. However, the Lord continued, in these ingredients there are extraordinary tastes and uncommon fragrances. Just taste them and see the difference in the experience. Apart from the taste, even the fragrance pleases the mind and makes one forget any other sweetness besides its own. Therefore, it is to be understood that the spiritual nectar of Krishna's lips has touched these ordinary ingredients and transferred to them all their spiritual qualities. In this way, the matter turns into spirit. So therefore, nothing material can inspire the spirit soul or purify the spirit soul, but spirit, or Krishna especially, he can purify us. So the Lord is manifesting through these so-called material forms, but he is inspiring us spiritually, and is purifying us through prasadam, through books, through deity form, through mahamantra, everything. So he has transferred to them all their spiritual qualities. You see, Krishna's lips, the quality of Krishna's lips, which is so adharam madhuram, vadanam madhuram. So that madhuram, the sweetness of Krishna's lips, has touched this food, and that's why the prasadam is so nice and tasty. A fragrance and taste that are uncommon and greatly enchanting, and that makes one forget all other experiences, are attributes of Krishna's lips. So in this way he pointed this. So thank you for that reference. Again, continuing with questions. Okay, still have so many questions. Okay, if possible, if it is not related to today's class, don't ask any more questions because I can't go on until 11 o'clock. We will answer these questions that are already here, but again in a short way possible. So please bear with us, and if you have more questions, you write them down and ask tomorrow. Alright. So, okay, what is the role of conscience? Okay, we have already gone through that. In other yugas, okay, next question by Vishnu Teja. In other yugas, are the mlechas what the modern scientists think are cavemen? No, mlechas are anyone who are against Vedic civilization, Vedic culture. So again, it doesn't mean anything. They can be even very good looking and everything. In fact, there is a Mayura Dhwaja. Is that Mayura? No. There is a description in the Nectar of Devotion that the mlechas who come from this province, they have beautiful features, but when they become Vaishnavas and with nice tilak and all the Vaishnava dress, they look even more transcendently beautiful. So that is explained. So that kind of a place is there. So mlechas, where they were beautiful also, and even the Khasa, the Khasa Desh, which is the Asians, the Chinese, that breed. So they are also one of the below Shudras, but again they also having some of them beautiful features, fair and everything. But so anybody against and a meat eater, he's called a mlecha. Anybody against the Vedic culture. So not just cavemen. There are other aborigines, Kirata, Shabara, all these forest people, forest dwellers are also there. They also have their different names, but mlecha is not exactly that. Okay, next question. Ajanya Mataji, which desire will lead to birth of a snake? How do I know? Enviousness. I mean, he's already a snake even in human body. Sarpa krura khala. Sarpat krurataha khala. Sarpat krurataha khala. The envious man is worse than a snake. He will bite for no reason. So anyway, I exactly don't know which desire will lead to a birth of a snake. I'll skip that question. Anyway, I do not know the answer. Anyway, it's less than a human body, so it's so again, please ask relevant questions. This is my request. We don't want so many questions that are just deviating from the topic. Okay, Virendra Prabhu, how does Supreme Lord shower his mercy on a devotee? By giving him, real mercy is devotional service actually. Everything is his mercy. Even he's giving us the air to breathe, otherwise we cannot breathe also. Just like now everybody has to wear masks, it is sometimes suffocating when you're doing work, and strenuous work, it is suffocating sometimes. We experience that because when we get vegetables every day, every week for the Lord, and we lift all those cartons and all this heavy stuff, and then we have to wear the mask, it is like, then you really start to appreciate fresh air, and you still really start to see how the Lord is merciful just by giving even air. So He is merciful all the way. Okay, but for the devotee, He gives more and more chance to do devotional service and gives him realizations. Bhakti Pareshanubhava Virakti. So this is the 3 symptoms, and He gives detachment from the material world. In this way, one shows mercy to the devotee. Gives the association of devotees, all these things. Okay, then Vishnu Teja Prabhu. Prabhu, can I consider it my good karma to have your association? Not my association. I am not. No, not really. That's not your good karma. It's a result of a bad karma. But you're hearing these words. Those are Prabhupada's words. That's why you're getting any benefit. Not mine. Ajanya Mataji. Then Krishna is playing a game with his rules and we are the toys. Prabhu said that Krishna won't come and elevate all souls even though he can do it. He can do it, but he doesn't interfere with our independence. We are not just toys like, the toys can't move unless we move it, right? So we are not exactly like toys. So we can move against the will of the player. Whereas the toys cannot move against the will of the, however the child is moving it, the toy will move. But we are more than just toys because we are living beings, and basically it is our independence. He does not interfere with our independence. He tells us what will happen if we use our independence and what will happen if we misuse our independence. But the choice whether to use or misuse it, he leaves it to us. Yathechhasi tatha kuru. So he left that to Arjuna. He said, Arjuna, I have explained to you the entire Bhagavad Gita, and this is what will happen, this way, that way. If you listen to me, you will have all success. If you don't listen to me, you will go to hell and suffer. Now I will leave it to you what you want to do. You want to go to hell or be blessed by me. You decide. So that independence he leaves it to us. Yes, he can liberate everyone, but he doesn't interfere with our independence. And that's why. He's not playing games with us. No. We wanted to play the game. So he gave us the field on which to play the game. We wanted to play the game. So we wanted to be Krishna. So in the spiritual world there is no field there. So he gave us this material world which is a field to play that game. He built a stadium for us, basically. The arena. And he got some rules, the law of karma, and now you play and be the winner, be the champion. And the more the champion we are, the more we suffer here. So when we understand that, then we will say, okay, Krishna, then I don't want to play this game anymore, I will come back to you. Then yes, then you can play with Krishna, the real game in the spiritual world. Next. Oh, that's it? Krishna Smaranam Prabhu is saying, you said that you will abbreviate your answers, but you're not doing a good job. Actually, I did. 16 questions in 20 minutes. That is a good job. I did a good job. Okay. Alright, we'll stop here. Shri Īśopaniṣad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hari Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.